Chapter 4175. The 8 elders were asked, and they were a little flustered. They looked at the congenitally powerful man of Longting business in the distance. At this time, the inborn superior in the distance is also extremely embarrassed. Now he can't carry out soul transmission in full view of the public, so he will be found. The old man coughed and said, Longchen asked you, what do you think I'm doing? Is it not easy to identify such a treasure at your level? Listening to the old man's mouth, a sneer appeared in the corner of Long Chen's mouth. Is that too obvious? Think of others as idiots? Sure enough, as soon as the old man opened his mouth, one of those who were in charge of the identification said, The heaven and earth tripod is a chaotic artifact, and its legend covers 9 days and 10 places. But everyone has heard of Qianku Ding, but they have never seen it with their own eyes. There are many versions of the illustrated books about Qianku Ding. At our present level, if you are ashamed, there is no way to judge whether it is true or not. What? When the old man opened his mouth, countless people were furious. Do you play us like monkeys? I can't tell. What kind of wolf do you pretend to be? Are you calling us here to waste our time? They'll give you an identification, but you can't identify it. Why did you swear that Longchen had heaven and earth cauldron in his hand, and that you were taking revenge and killing people with a knife? No identification? Is that what you told us? How do you sell tickets with a big face? Madan, give me a refund. For a moment, the whole venue was bombed. 8 people pretended to identify it for a long time, and gave such a result. Who cannot be angry? All of you, let's put an end to the fury of the thunder. Listen to me. The old man said in a hurry. After everyone's roar subsided a little, the old man said, You are not experts in this field, but we all know how important the heaven and earth cauldron is. No one dares to say anything in vain. But you said it on a hot day. Long Chen's stall. In the face of Long Chen's slapping, the old man could only pretend that he didn't hear it. He continued, We were not careful enough to release the news at the beginning. We didn't have a detailed appraisal, let alone conclusive evidence. It's extremely irresponsible to say such a thing. Therefore, the president who sent out false information has been dismissed for the first time, investigated and dealt with by us, and began to do his best to remedy it. It's just that the news is spreading so fast that we can't make up for it in time. Now this bronze tripod is in front of us. We have researched its shape, rune, breadth and other characteristics, which are confirmed by the literature controlled by Longting Trading Company. When the old man said this, he stopped deliberately. He was very scheming. It was to attract everyone's attention and to control the rhythm of the auction again. Say what you have to say, fart what you have to say. Speak and play at the same time, speak and play quickly. Some people don't eat this set and roar directly. The old man saw that people's emotions could not be controlled at all. He quickly continued, We have come to the conclusion that this bronze tripod is not a modern product. You're so special. This fart doesn't smell at all. As long as you're not blind, everyone can see it. Let's get to the point. A voice came from the front box, full of disdain. The old man didn't dare to talk back, so he could only continue. Compared with the resources we control, this bronze tripod is in line with 47 of the 107 illustrations about heaven and earth tripod in our hands. How can it be? Are the illustrations of heaven and earth tripods different? Questions have been raised. The old man did not speak at once, but looked at the inborn superior. The inborn superior said, I'm sorry, it's about the secret of our Longting business. I'm sorry, I can't tell you. At this time, Long Chen seized the opportunity and said with a sneer, What's the secret? You can't come up with strong evidence. How can you convince people? Is it because you have white teeth and your upper lip touches your lower lip, saying true is true and saying false is false? We all come here for the name of heaven and earth tripod. If you don't tell us why, don't you treat everyone as a fool? I came here at the risk of being robbed of my treasure, just to know what it is. And everyone here, I believe, is just like me. Anyway, today, you Longting firm must give us a clear answer. Now Longchen is full of confidence. With the help of Qianku Ding, Longchen is not afraid. Today, he wants to sell this fake for a good price. Longting Business can't control the whole market, so he can control it. Longchen is right. You must give us a clear answer. Otherwise, who knows if you are fooling people? After all, we have never seen the heaven and earth cauldron, let alone the illustration of the heaven and earth cauldron. This time, even Xiantian Tianzuan can't sit still. We must let Longting Business show evidence, and never let them muddle through. After all, the heaven and earth cauldron is very important. If the bronze cauldron is really the heaven and earth cauldron, it may be the first one among the 10 chaotic artifacts in billions of years. It is said that after the Chaos War, all the 10 chaotic artifacts disappeared, and the inheritance of some chaotic artifacts also declined, and finally disappeared in the long history. It is said that the last power to worship the chaotic artifact is the Great Xia Empire, but in the end, the Great Xia Empire was dissolved in the hands of Xia Guhong. Although it is said that Xia Guhong still controls the power of the Great Xia Dragon Bird, the Great Xia Dragon Bird has never really appeared, and the whereabouts of the 10 chaotic artifact have become a mystery. If the bronze tripod in Longchen's hand was a chaotic artifact, it would be enough to stir 9 days and 10 places. At the beginning, people didn't believe that the bronze tripod in Longchen's hand was the chaotic artifact of heaven and earth. But when they saw the bronze tripod and felt its supreme power, they were moved, but only the most professional people could be firm in the truth. But now the most professional people are starting to make a mess. How can people let them do what they want? Longting Business, what do you want to do in the end? Do you procrastinate? Do you believe that Lao Tzu has lifted your son of a bitch's nest? Finally, someone can't help it. The breath of terror seems to be on the verge of rampage. It's a natural god from the demon family. The terrible evil spirit leaked out from his box. Mooring's killing intention makes people feel shivering. Longting Business firm, don't dally, come up with the evidence. The other inborn gods were also angry. The strong men of Longting Business were both surprised and angry, but in the face of public anger, they finally chose to compromise. They look gloomy one by one, looking at Longchen. It seems that they are going to bite Longchen to pieces, just like Longchen has just killed their father. In the face of Longteng's anger, Longchen's heart is in full bloom, not to mention more comfortable. Brother and sister Bai, they are so kind. If I don't kill you today, my name will be written upside down. Longting Business was forced to do nothing but lift up some big and small picture frames. When Longchen saw the pictures in those frames, Longchen felt a thump in his heart. Broken. www. Novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4176. The frames are inlaid with exquisite crystal, with runes on them and ancient patterns on them. Some of these designs are rubbings, some are bone books, and some are animal skin paper, all of which are bronze tripods. Among these patterns, there are 2 kinds. One is the one in Longchen's hand, and the other is completely different. No, Qianding and Kuanding have the same shape, but the rune is totally different. Longchen looks at the heaven and earth cauldron that Xia Chen and Guoran have just built in the chaotic space, and suddenly looks silly. It's totally different. How can we sell it? It's totally different from the plan. I can't even fool around. You can see that there are 2 kinds of the most reliable. However, the heaven and earth tripod of Longchen is only one of them, so we Longting Business do not dare to tell the truth. We can only be sure that this bronze tripod of Longchen is not a fake, but it is not a real one, which needs to be discussed. The old man in charge of identification said, when these illustrated books are highlighted, the strong people present are also hoodwinked. Longting Business is afraid to judge whether it is true or false, for fear of taking responsibility. However, the meaning of Longting Business is also very obvious. It must have been a long time. It is impossible to make a fake. As for whether it is a real heaven and earth cauldron, we don't say. You can do it by yourself. In this way, people are even more itchy. It seems that the bronze tripod is really possible. Longchen, how can you sell this bronze tripod? What will be used for settlement? Someone asked. I don't know whether it's true or not. How do you sell it? Longchen can't help frowning. We don't know whether it's true or not. It's gambling. Gambling has risks and wins. On the one hand, it's gambling on luck. On the other hand, It's gambling on vision. If the price is right, we are willing to take risks. Even if the lion opens his mouth, we are not stupid. We will not take risks if the gap between pay and harvest is too big. In addition, if you're not polite, it's a hot potato. If you have the ability, it's okay to hold it. If you don't have the ability, hey, be careful that you're both rich and poor. The voice of Mori Lung came from the box where he was possessed before. Cut, threaten me? Do you think I was scared? In the face of the man's threat, Long Chen sneered, if I used to be angry, I would not sell it to you. I'll see what you can do to me. However, you alone can't represent everyone. There are a lot of people who sincerely want to sell, and I, Long Chen, will never deliberately play tricks on others. I also sincerely want to sell. The origin of this bronze tripod is unknown. A group of crafty guys in Longting business are unwilling to tell the truth. I don't know if these bastards are secretly making small moves and preparing to buy them back. Long Chen, don't spit out blood and slander our Longting business. Has been docking with the dragon dust that Longting business congenitally Tianzuan strong roared. Well, I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Well, I don't want to say whether it's the real heaven and earth cauldron. I believe many people have heard about it. At least, it is also an immortal weapon of the highest quality. I'm not greedy either. I'll exchange it for the corpses of immortal divine soldiers or immortal strong men, but I don't want the corpses of human race, spirit race and those kind races. Longshan rode. The body? There was an uproar. What did Longshan want to do with the body of the immortal strong man? One for another? Someone asked. Do you speak with a brain? At least one for three, less than three, don't come out disgraceful Longshan sneers. One for three? Are you kidding? How many forces have been passed on for thousands of years? You don't even have one immortal weapon. If you open your mouth, you have to change three? Some people sneer. If you like to change it, you can change it. If you don't change it, you can go away. I'm here to auction it, not to help the poor. What nonsense do you say if you don't have money? Do you spend all your money on boxes? Long Chen is not used to the man's faults, so he retorts directly. The man didn't show up. He was in the box. It was obvious that he was also a terrible god. You. The man was so angry that Long Chen didn't pay attention to him at all. Don't talk nonsense. I has the final say in my stuff. I am a very simple person. I only give you one chance to bid, either 3 immortal soldiers or 3 well-preserved corpses of immortal strongmen. Here I am. The corpse of the immortal strong is equivalent to the immortal magic weapon. The bronze tripod suspected to be the heaven and earth tripod is definitely worth your possession. It's time to lose it. It won't come again. Auction. Start. Long Chen cried out. As Long Chen's voice fell, the whole audience was silent, and no one made a direct bid. The strong man of Longting business sneered. If he didn't make a good preparation, he would go straight to the climax. They wish Longshan couldn't sell this heaven and earth tripod, so they don't have to pay Longshan service fee. However, they didn't really intend to pay the service fee of Longshan. Their contract had been tampered with for a long time. Besides, Longshan deliberately disrupted the deployment of Longting Commercial Bank at this time. According to the contract, Longshan still had to pay them a sum of money. I'll count 3. After 3, they'll take back the bronze tripod directly, even if it's out of style. In the face of this cold situation, Long Chen did not panic and counted directly. 2. After counting 1, Long Chen didn't give the people any time to hesitate and called out 2 directly, which seemed to be afraid of other people's bidding. At that moment, many people's faces changed. They seemed to be aware of something. Just as Long Chen was about to shout 3, someone quoted a price. 3 immortal demon corpses. It was called out by a powerful demon. As soon as he opened his mouth, many powerful monsters suddenly changed their faces. Immortal strong level monster, who has endless treasure, that demon's strong hands actually have 3 immortal demon corpses, which is thought-provoking. The relationship between the demon family and the demon family is not friendly. As soon as the strong one of the demon family makes an offer, it immediately arouses the hatred of the demon family. What's so strange? These corpses were collected by us in the Archean battlefield, and we didn't kill them. hated by the powerful monster, the powerful demon sneers. Although the tone was contemptuous, many people recognized that he was a little timid. This explanation proved that he didn't want to be missed. The powerful demon was in the box, and he didn't show his face. No one knew who he was, but he could explain it in this way. Obviously, he was very cautious about this kind of thing. Long Chen, no matter what the origin of the immortal body, he will take it. Good. Box 7 has been offered. 3 immortal demon corpses for the first time. Long Chen looked around the whole room for a while, and then yelled, 3 immortal demon corpses for the second time. 3 immortal demon corpses, the third. Just as the hammer in Long Chen's hand was about to fall, someone suddenly said coldly, 4 immortal demon corpses. www. Ninefold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4177. The speaker didn't show up either. He was in the box, but there was a strong smell of ORC in his box. It was obvious that he was a strong man of the monster family. Before, the powerful of the demon clan produced the corpses of 3 immortal monsters, which shocked and angered the monsters. Now the powerful people of the demon family are fighting back. This time, it's the turn of countless powerful people of the demon family. For a moment, the atmosphere of the scene became extremely surprised, and Long Chen said in a high voice, "Since you have asked for a box, you are not willing to show your true face to others, just to prevent others from knowing who you are? If you are lucky, you can take the bronze tripod away quietly without causing trouble for yourself and your family. And the immortal corpses in your hands can't be seen either. When you bring these corpses out, don't you want to steal them in exchange for what you want? Demons have demonic corpses, we all want to trade, but we are afraid that one can't be done well and will be eaten by others. You all want to get things from each other, but you dare not trade openly. Are you tired or not? These immortal corpses, just like treasure, belong to those who find them. They can be traded as they like. How can there be so many scruples? I'd like to make a statement here. I'm quite straightforward. I don't like to be played as a monkey. Don't always interrupt me when I shout for the 3rd time. I really want to throw this hot potato out. If anyone yells that I'm in a bad mood, I'll drop the hammer directly. Even if it's low price, I'll sell it to others directly." Long Chen's words are to the point. In fact, there are many racial forces with some things that can't be seen in their hands. Long Chen also inquired from Huayun Commercial Bank. Some things are of great importance and involve too much. Sometimes they ask Longting Commercial Bank to do some underground transactions. Huayun Commercial Bank never takes over such dark transactions, because there will be some shady darkness and blood in these transactions, which Huayun Commercial Bank will never touch. But Longting business is different. They do everything. What they can see, what they can't see, as long as they have profits, they do everything. However, this kind of underground transaction is very risky and easy to be contaminated with terrorist causality. Therefore, the fees charged by Longting Commercial Bank are also very high. In this way, some forces are not happy. Longting business is a black and white business. They try to find their own way to trade directly. However, there are too many unexpected situations in this kind of transaction, and if they can't do it well, they will have a shopping spree. Therefore, they are cautious every time. The demons have the immortal corpses of the demons, but the immortal corpses are useless in their hands. They hope to exchange the immortal corpses for the demons. The same is true of the demons, but there is no channel for them. Moreover, even if there are channels, they may not dare to trade directly. In the process of trading, how to calculate the price difference? The business negotiation is not right. The probability of a bloody battle is too high. They have not only corpses in their hands, but also magic weapons, martial arts, bone books, and other treasures. However, these things can't be seen. It's too difficult to deal with them well. Now that the Holy King's meeting is open, many people have brought the most precious things. They want to exchange what they want and turn useless things into useful treasures. Long Chen also saw everyone's concerns and directly pointed out the key, so that they can rest assured of competition and don't blindly delay their efforts. Well, this friend offered 4 immortal corpses. Did he offer more? Long Chen cried out. 5 immortal corpses. As soon as Long Chen's voice fell, someone began to speak. Obviously, Long Chen's words played a role. Everyone was in the box. No one knew anyone, so they could shout at ease. Those corpses can't be disposed of at all. It's better to use them as a bargaining chip to compete for this bronze tripod, which may be a chance of success. If you win the bet, you will be fully developed. 6 immortal corpses, another direct bid was made, and the audience was stunned. Is the corpse of the immortal and powerful so worthless? Where did they get their immortal bodies? 6 immortal corpses, plus an immortal sword. Just then an old voice came. As soon as the man opened his mouth, someone exclaimed and heard his voice fluctuate. It was obvious that it was a human race. The human race had hidden dragons and tigers. There were so many immortal corpses and an immortal Shunbing sword. Long Chen hears here on the surface is motionless, but in the heart has already begun to shout cheers, this really hair. Xia Chen and Guoran have complicated faces. They want to remind Long Chen many times whether they have taken the wrong heaven and earth tripod, because the heaven and earth tripod in front of Long Chen is not made by them at all. 10 immortal corpses, someone snorted coldly, and suddenly increased the price to 10. Obviously, he had to use his strength to scare everyone away and show his attitude towards the heaven and earth tripod. 18 heads, as a result, someone was more ruthless than him. When he opened his mouth, the whole audience was shocked. He was a powerful monster. Very good, 18 heads. I'm afraid this friend is already in the top position. 18 heads for the first time, 18 heads for the second time. Even with Long Chen's calmness, he could not restrain his voice with excitement. If there are 18 immortal corpses, the chaotic space will change dramatically. All the vegetation in it will grow rapidly, and the vitality of dragon dust will be inexhaustible. 18, plus 6 immortal soldiers. All of a sudden, a strange voice came and the whole audience was in an uproar. This time, the shouting did not come from the box, but from the back seat. Everyone's eyes were on the back row. According to reason, people from this place came to make soy sauce, and no one would bid at all. When all the people looked at the man, they found that the man was wrapped in a mass of black air. They couldn't see his face at all. They couldn't even tell what kind of creature he was. However, there was a pair of deep eyes in the dark air, which was creepy. Even the congenital god looked at those eyes and felt the cool wind coming from his back. Looking at the man's eyes, Long Chen was also startled. Long Chen could not tell the origin of the man, but he could feel that his cultivation was also a fairyland, but the pressure it put on him was more terrible than some of the heaven's gods. I'm afraid this man is a strong enemy. Long Chen's heart is beating wildly. But this man's breath is strange, and Long Chen can't explore it. The auction will continue. Long Chen yells, 18 heads, plus 6 immortal soldiers. Is there any price increase? If not, the countdown will start. The first time, the second time, the third time, the deal, bang, Long Chen's mallet fell, but he was happy and finally sold it. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4178, Face-to-Face Transaction. The old and the young do not deceive. This friend, please come up. Let's hand in the money and hand in the delivery. Long Chen rode. Who, all of a sudden, in front of Long Chen's body, the black air is full of air, and the man comes to Long Chen from the back row like a blink. That person's whole body black air flows, as if there is no entity, only a pair of eyes in the black air, like the devil's eyes, coldly looking at the dragon dust. If someone else is staring at me with these eyes, he will tremble, but Long Chen is not afraid of it, so he spreads it out in a big hand. My goods have been inspected by Longting Company for me. Where are your goods? Long Chen asked. Who? The man suddenly moved and flew out a black stone the size of his thumb belly. As soon as the stone appeared, countless strong people exclaimed, World Stone. The World Stone is compressed from one side of the world. It's a world of its own. It's many times higher than the space ring. The World Stone is refined from the core of one side of the world. It is extremely precious. Even Longchen saw it for the first time. Longchen reaches for the world stone. When he touches the world stone, Longchen's face changes slightly. He looks at the creature wrapped in black air. At that moment, he knows the origin of the other party. Check the goods. The black air-wrapped creature, cold tunnel, its voice is very strange, like the sound of stone friction. The tone is strange, like the ghost of hell. Listen to let people's soul can't help shaking. Longchen didn't say anything. He put his divine consciousness into the world stone. The space in the world stone was infinite. At the moment when the divine consciousness was penetrated, Longchen's soul was in great pain. The terrible divine power almost made his divine consciousness collapse. There are 18 huge corpses in the world stone, crawling there. They are also full of black air. Among these corpses, there are big demons and sea monsters. However, when they see one of the corpses, Longchen's heart jumps wildly. Rhinoceros of the moon, there is an immortal body of the moon watchers in it. It seems that this body does not belong to me. It can only be given to Uncle Xiong. When Longchen looked at the 6 immortal magic weapons, his face changed slightly. These 6 weapons are ghost magic weapons which are useless to me. Ghost Way. The strong men on the scene all took a breath of cold air. They suddenly understood where the strong man, who was covered with black air, came from. The immortal magic weapon of the Ghost Way can only be activated by the Ghost Way creatures. It has a special mark on it. Let alone use it. Even if it is placed nearby, it will be eroded by the spirit's will. It is true that the immortal magic weapon will take the initiative to eat the Lord. Therefore, when Longchen saw these immortal magic soldiers, he immediately knew that he had been cheated. It was useless for him. Isn't that immortal? It's a cold tunnel. Okay, you're cruel. I'll admit it. Take the bronze tripod. Longchen cold put up the world stone. The ghost came to the bronze tripod, opened his big hand, and the black breath was flowing. He gradually covered the bronze tripod and quietly put it away. The ghost's eyes swept the room. I know many people are unconvinced and want to take the bronze tripod from me. It doesn't matter. I welcome you all at any time. No matter it's the fairy king or the god, I will not refuse you. The ghost was so overbearing that it didn't seem to pay attention to all the people present, and didn't worry that anyone would dare to rob his treasure. The figure of the ghost suddenly dispersed, and then disappeared quietly. There were so many congenital gods on the scene that no one knew what it left. For a moment, the whole audience was dead and silent. This ghost was frightening everyone. The ability to come and go without a trace was frightening. When the bronze tripod was photographed away, everyone stood up and Longchen was ready to leave. But just then, in the chaotic space of Longchen, the bronze tripod rebuilt by Xia Chen and Guoran suddenly lit up. What? Longchen was startled. The rune on the bronze tripod began to distort and change. There were all kinds of fierce animal patterns on it, and the fierce air came to my face. This. Longchen looked at the heaven and earth tripod in the soul space and found that it was really changing the bronze tripod. When I saw those patterns, Longchen almost didn't shout out, because this pattern is another one of the most common patterns in Longteng's illustrated books. Thank you. At that moment, Longchen understood that Qian Kuanding was helping him to sell another fake. Hey, everyone, wait a minute. The auction is not over yet. Seeing countless people leave their seats one after another, Longchen shouts out in a hurry. At this time, people from Longting business are persuading these people. The auction is not over yet. The cry of Longchen surprised the people of Longting business. Is this boy ready to help them? The heaven and earth cauldron is gone. What are you waiting for? Do you have as like as 2 peas? Some people don't have a good air to sneer at. That person is the penultimate bid, but was the ghost of life down the strong. Haha, you are right. I have another one. Longchen talks and waves his big hand. Another bronze tripod appears on the stage. The golden light shines in his eyes and the divine light is surging. However, different from the previous atmosphere of peace, this bronze tripod is filled with endless ferocity, like a bloodthirsty beast that has been sealed for countless years. As soon as it appeared, The whole auction house suddenly became cold. When seeing this bronze tripod, countless people's faces changed. This bronze tripod looks similar to the previous one. However, the above runes are completely different. The bronze tripod painted with mountains and rivers, sun, moon and stars, has a grand bearing, giving people a sense of peace and harmony. However, the runes on the bronze tripod formed various animal patterns. Although the animal patterns were vague, people could recognize its outline at a glance. There are dragon, phoenix, tortoise, tiger and all kinds of strange beasts. When the bronze tripod came out, the ferocious spirit filled the whole audience. Even those who were born with heaven's power felt frightened. When the bronze tripod was lit by Longchen, the strong men of Longting business came forward one after another, and one of them said excitedly, I understand. What do you understand? Longchen asked. The heaven and earth cauldron is divided into 2 cauldrons, not 1 cauldron. Our illustrated books are correct. The 2 most recorded ones are correct. What was sold before should be Kunding, but now this one should be Qianding. It turns out that what you got at the beginning was 2 tripods, but you bought them separately. You have a new machine. The old man looked at Longchen Road. Lao Tzu's mind is so deep that if it wasn't for Qian Kuanding's help, it would have been a mess. However, if the old man said so, he didn't need Longchen to explain. And the strong people on the scene also had a look of enlightenment. At the same time, they were completely shocked. That is to say, the bronze tripod in Longchen's hand is really the heaven and earth tripod. This last bronze tripod is for the rich. Now the auction starts. Longchen saw countless people, eyes are red, then directly cut into the theme. When Longchen's voice fell, the whole audience was boiling. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4179, 30 immortal corpses, plus 2 immortal magic weapons, 2 magic weapons, all belong to your people. As soon as Longchen's voice fell, someone immediately made a bid, and once he made a bid, it was the kind that scared people to death. Are you crazy? Someone exclaimed, this guy is going to lose his family and property, and also want to take this bronze tripod? Obviously, the man reported his limit directly. They had missed Kunding before, and now they don't want to miss Qianding anymore. If we say that before they had doubts about the bronze tripod, but now they have no doubt at all. Because there are some ancient heritages. We know that the heaven and earth tripod is divided into 2 parts. Now the appearance of the heaven and earth tripod is consistent with the illustrated book provided by Longting Company. It can't be false. Heaven and earth tripod, chaos artifact, it's priceless. It's been picked up by the ghost before. This time, if they miss it again, they will hit the wall. 58 immortal corpses, plus 7 immortal soldiers, 3 of them from the Terran. At this time, an old man's voice came from a box full of evil spirit. My God, he was a powerful demon. He had competed with Kunding before, but he didn't compete with the powerful ghost. Now he broke out with all his strength. As soon as the old man opened his mouth, the whole audience was silent. The old man's inside information was too strong. The bidding stopped everyone. Longchen looked around the audience and said with a smile, it seems that there is no need to do anything once, twice, or 3 times. It is estimated that no one will be higher than the price. Let's make a deal. Bang, Longchen threw his mallet to the ground, and the matter was settled. Then the box door was opened, and an old man with a silver mask came out. That is a demon's innate heaven. The breath is extremely terrible, but even he dare not expose his face. Even the breath has done a variety of camouflage, obviously afraid of being recognized. Come on, Longchen is very straightforward. He reaches out his hand directly. The old man doesn't talk nonsense and throws a world stone to Longchen. Longchen grabs the world stone with his big hand, but before he can check the things inside, he suddenly has a warning sign in his heart, and the terrible threat of death envelopes him. Longchen was surprised and angry. He thought it was the old man who wanted to plot against him. He roared and smashed his fist in front of him. And just at the moment of his hand, he knew that he had wronged the old man, because the old man also roared, holding the bronze tripod back. He thought it was the change of dragon dust that attacked him secretly. Bang! The whole stage was smashed, the terrible waves overlapped, and the huge power directly overturned the dome of the venue, and countless strong people were lifted by the waves. Sudden changes, so that all people unprepared, at a loss, do not know what happened. Longchen, you liar, die for me. At this moment, a gloomy roar spread throughout the venue. When they heard that voice, everyone was startled and recognized the owner of the voice for the first time. He was the ghost who had just photographed Kundiang. At this time, he appeared again and gave a hand to Longchen. Just now, Longchen hit a strange light curtain with his fist. He was shocked and his blood surged back several steps. When you see the figure wrapped in black air, Longchen is happy. Fortunately, this guy is a step late, otherwise the second fake will not be sold. What are you talking about? The heaven and earth tripod was appraised by Longting Business. How can I cheat people? Longchen won't admit to cheating even if he is killed. Damn heaven and earth tripod. The ghost roared, and suddenly his big hand came out. The golden light in his hand trembled. It was the bronze tripod that he had just photographed. However, the bronze tripod now seems to have lost its color, not only the sacred prestige before, but also the breath. It looks listless. Boom! The big hands of the ghosts trembled, and countless rusts danced on the bronze tripod. When the rusts separated from the bronze tripod, the original appearance of the bronze tripod was revealed. This special thing is just made. Do you pretend to be heaven and earth tripod with it? Go to hell. With a wave of the ghost's hand, the bronze tripod, like a meteor, smashed at the dragon dust. Boom! With one blow and a bang, Longchen shook the bronze tripod and rolled it all the way out. When they rolled in front of the crowd, people exclaimed that the bronze tripod had been punched a pit by Longchen, and the whole tripod was deformed. At that moment, everyone was shocked. If it was the real heaven and earth cauldron, how could it be so weak? This is absolutely fake. Before that, the demon strongman who had just made a deal with Longchen was still holding Qianding tightly. At this time, his eyes changed. Because he was shocked to find that after the Qianding arrived in his hands, the sacred breath was rapidly dissipating, and the luster was gradually dim. When he smashed his fist on the bronze tripod, the result was a bang, and his bronze tripod was also dented. At that moment, his body was shaking rapidly. Dragon dust. The old man gnashed his teeth. His voice came out from the crack of his teeth. The horror of killing swept the sky in an instant. Hey, don't get excited, don't get excited. Longchen quickly waved his hand and said, Everyone, let's be reasonable. I've got 2 bronze tripods, but I never said that they are heaven and earth tripods. I discussed all this with Longting in advance. When Longchen said this, his face suddenly changed, as if he had let out a slip of the tongue, and he quickly corrected, It's all me with Longting that by the way, it has nothing to do with Longting Business. It seems that Longchen is very anxious and wants to defend Longting Business, but there is a trend that the more he describes it, the darker it is. At that moment, people in Longting Business suddenly turn black, and their eyes are full of fear. Longchen is trying to kill them. Boom! At this time, Dao Dao Shenhui came from all directions, and the big array was born. For a moment, Longchen's scalp was numb, and he was locked by the big array. Longchen, don't talk nonsense. If you don't give us an account today, don't want to leave alive. Tianzuan of Longting Business roared, and he started the battle for the first time. But what frightened him was that he had just started the dawn, and was shocked to find that dawn began to get out of control. Suddenly, Xiachen, Guoran, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and others all appear beside Longchen, and at this time, the divine brilliance of the great array envelopes Longchen and others. Boss, let's go. Longting Business has said that after they break up, as for the sharing of stolen goods, we'll talk about it later. Xiachen shouts and suddenly crushes the seal characters in her hand. Bang! Countless strong men killed Longchen, but they all took a slow step. Their attack didn't even touch Longchen's clothes, so Longchen and others disappeared. And the moment Longshan disappeared, everyone's eyes suddenly looked at the people of Longting business. How dare you collude to cheat me? Go to hell! That ghost road living creature, a roar, endless black gas, in an instant devoured the entire conference hall. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4180 Boss, how did you do it? The two tripods. Xia Chen secretly tampered with the power of Longting business, changed the power of seal into the power of transmission, and the people were sent out in an instant. At this time, they were transported to the edge of the Holy King State, and now they are flying back. At this time, Guoran had a chance to ask about it. You know, he and Xia Chen were worried for a long time. Hey, it's all the help of Qian Kuanding. We don't know that there is such a big gap in runes between Qianding and Kuanding. Longchen laughs. Hearing what Longchen said, Xia Chen and Guoran realized that these words were all soul sounds. The less people know about Qian Kuanding, the better. It's not that Longchen doesn't trust them. It's that Qian Kuanding is too much involved. Don't bring them bad cause and effect. It's good to run after cheating money. Guoran laughed and his face was full of excitement. It's a great sense of accomplishment to think of so many people who have been cheated by them, especially so many congenital gods. Well, I don't know what happened to Longting business. I'm worried about them. Summer Morning pretended to sigh, a face of melancholy. The crowd burst into laughter. They hated the fact that Longting business secretly sacrificed the Terran to the Devil's Eye. It's better to destroy such a force as soon as possible. Fortunately, I was lucky this time. I cheated the first one, and I still have time to cheat the second one. It's the first time for Longchen to cheat 2 waves with a smile. Come on, share the spoils. The immortal soldiers belong to you. The corpses belong to me. Longchen takes out the magic soldiers in another world stone, and loads all the corpses into one world stone, and all the magic soldiers into another world stone. When Xia Chen and Guoran were holding the world stone and looking at the immortal soldiers lying inside, they almost jumped up with excitement. It's a priceless treasure for them. Although there are 6 magic weapons from the Ghost Way, it doesn't matter. They can't use it, but they can study, learn, and use it for reference. 3 of the 7 immortal magic weapons of the Demon Strongman are from the Terran, and the rest are from the Demon family. Although these magic weapons and spirits have died, only empty shells are left, they are still strong. Xia Chen and Guoran dare not take them out to watch. They have to wait until they go back and find a secret place to take them out. Dragon Dust is also immersed in excitement. Dragon Dust places these corpses side by side on the black soil. When these immortal corpses appear, the black soil seems to become extremely active and begin to devour them. It's like a greedy beast, after tasting the delicious meat and blood, will never eat the grass and leaves again. However, these immortal corpses are too large. Only 5 corpses can be put in the black soil area at one time. Most of these corpses are from the Demon family, and only a few are from the Demon family. When these corpses begin to decompose, the endless chaotic air flow turns in the chaotic space, and the wood of the Taiyin and the wood of the sun fully absorb the air of life and start to grow rapidly again. Huolinger yells excitedly, just like a child who gets endless snacks. The fire of the sun and the fire of the sun are burning and growing up. Tongtian blood lotus is also breeding constantly. It grows faster and its seeds fall off automatically when they are mature. It doesn't need Longchen's hands at all. They breed by themselves. At this time, a blood pool was opened up in the chaotic space, and hundreds of Saussuria involucrata were growing vigorously in the blood pool. It's a pity that the crystal nuclei of these corpses are useless. Otherwise, the energy will be many times stronger. However, if the crystal nuclei are not discarded, they will not sell them at all. They will certainly find ways to refine them into puppets, or offer them up, and use the power of faith to control them. It's a pity that Dragon Dust screams. At the same time, Longchen also thinks that the immortal strong man who has been dead for countless years can release such terrible energy even if his crystal nucleus is useless. What if he is an immortal strong man who has just been killed? As the immortal remains were swallowed up, Longchen found that the Tiandao trees and Qibao Lioli trees in the center of black soil also changed. Their size does not change much, but on the leaves, there are new runes. The whole body of them is full of light, and their breath is magnificent. One yin and one yang are complementary. They'll go. How can I forget this stubble? Dragon dust suddenly found that the top of the tree of heaven gave birth to a few three-color fruit. The supreme fruit of heaven. Tiandao tree is as strong as ever. In a certain range, after the death of the killed 3 extreme and congenital heaven level strong, the energy is quietly absorbed by it. Hey, my dragon blood army is going to be the supreme army. Long Chen holds the fruit of heaven, and his face is full of excitement. With the continuous phagocytosis of corpses, the laws in the chaotic space also begin to change quietly. Various kinds of energy are released, and the chaotic space seems to be using these energy to improve itself. When Long Chen looks at the heaven and earth cauldron in the soul space, he suddenly finds that the heaven and earth cauldron has disappeared. This discovery scares Long Chen into a cold sweat. Then when the mind was immersed in the chaotic space again, the dragon dust found that the heaven and earth tripod ran to the chaotic space, and was hanging on the void side by side with the golden lotus seed. When he saw the heaven and earth cauldron, he was relieved and his heart fell to the ground. It seems that heaven and earth cauldron has helped me to cheat. It's also going to make a profit. Longchen watched the heaven and earth cauldron floating in the void. Although he didn't know why it appeared here, Longchen knew that there must be something it needed. Longchen found that the rust on Qiankuan cauldron no longer fell off, but began to melt, and the melted rust seemed to be being absorbed by it. For the heaven and earth cauldron, Longchen knows too little, but one thing is for sure, these corpses should also be beneficial to the heaven and earth cauldron, otherwise it will not come from the soul space to the chaotic space. Xiaoqin's flying boat galloped all the way and soon entered the main urban area of Xinguang State. Because the array was arranged by Longting Company, Xiaoqin could only use part of its power as transmission power, but the transmission direction and distance could not be controlled accurately. Fortunately, the distance of transmission is not far, but there is a big deviation in the direction. The direction of entering the main city is the demons area. Long Chen and others dare not go through the demons directly. You know, Long Chen has killed countless powerful demons, and his body is stained with endless demons' resentment. As soon as the powerful demons see him, they know how many demons he has killed, and they will attack him immediately. Compared with the demons are more united. Longchen can cross the demons, but he does not dare to cross the demons directly. They had to make a detour to return to the Terran area. After returning to the Terran area, they were preparing to take a shortcut to return to Lingshao Academy. Longchen died. The void trembles, the endless air flow of death turns, and the powerful ghost who is wrapped in black air appears first and pours directly at the dragon dust. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4181. The dragon dust flying boat is quietly close to the Terran area, and Xiaoqin has also turned on the stealth ability so that it can be found, which shows that this strong ghost has a unique tracking method. The powerful ghost just appeared, and a thing flew towards Longchen, which surprised Longchen. It's a head. It's the head of the natural superior of Longting business. The ghosts killed him personally. Longchen is shocked. It's very difficult for a strong man in fairyland to defeat a congenital heaven. If he wants to kill a congenital heaven, it means that he is far stronger than the other side. Longchen dodged the head, because he found that there was a strange rune on the head, so he didn't dare to connect it rashly, for fear of being trapped. Bang! The head of the old man in Longting business firm suddenly burst, and the divine power of Xiantian Tianzuan suddenly burst out, and the head burst, which produced the power of Xiantian Tianzan's self-explosion. Longchen was shocked. He didn't expect that this ghost had such a terrible means. He couldn't avoid this blow. Because once he avoids the terrible waves, he will go straight to the back of Bai Shishir and others. Maybe Bai Shishir, Bai Xiala, Guoran and Xiaoqin can cope with it, but Mu Qingyun, Luo Bing, Luo Ning, Zhongling and Zhongxiu are likely to be crushed by this terrible explosive force. Boom! With a roar, Long Chen's golden radiance flowed and summoned the Dragon King to fight hard. When he was hit by the terrible force, Long Chen seemed to be hit by a meteor, and his blood almost gushed out. Kaka kaka. The void behind the dragon dust is broken like a mirror, and the crack goes straight into the sky. The dragon dust is in the center of the crack like a cobweb. At that moment, Long Chen's qi and blood were surging in his body like a tsunami, and his strength was like a runaway wild horse, running wantonly in his body. Long Chen lost control of his body for a moment. Death, it seems that the ghost has long expected this scene. Holding a white bone dagger, he goes straight to Long Chen's eyebrow to stab. His body method is like a ghost, which can't be thought about. Long Chen watched the dagger stabbing into his eyebrow, but his body didn't listen. At that moment, Long Chen was surprised and angry. He still fell into the trap of ghosts. He had all his strength, but he couldn't make it out. When, just as the dagger was about to pierce into Long Chen's eyebrows, a long golden sword crossed the void and knocked the dagger away. It's Bai Shishir who saves Long Chen's life at the critical moment. Bai Shishir is also scared out of a cold sweat. Fortunately, she has fused the long sword. The sword will go as it pleases and kill him at the first time. If she slows down, Long Chen will be finished. But when the sword broke away, Bai Shishir snorted. On the golden sword, it was stained with black breath, and the breath went straight to her palm along the sword. It seems that the ghost did not expect that Bai Shishir could block his inevitable attack. The golden power of Bai Shishir shocked him so much that he could not hold his body and flew backward. "Go to hell, you little devil!" Guoran roared, his armor was added, and his sword roared. Just now, it was really dangerous. The boss almost died. He was so angry that he cut it off. Guoran's speed is extremely fast, and he has a good chance to find it. He cuts down on the way of ghosts and spirits retrogression, and the heat is extremely good. This knife is enough to prove Guoran's strength. The ghost could not escape, and was cut off by Guoran. But to Guoran's shock, the knife passed through his body, and the ghost turned into a black fog, which could not hurt him at all. Entity to illusion? Guoran was shocked. What was the origin of this man? Zhentian rune, with a break in the morning of summer, in the explosion of Zhentian, a seal character explodes in the black fog, and the black fog disappears instantly. However, the scattered black fog quickly condensed again, and was not affected by Xia Chen's Fu Zhuan at all. Tiantong seals heaven and earth. Suddenly, a huge pupil appears between heaven and earth. 3 flowers gather in the pupil. With the appearance of the pattern of 3 flowers, all the black qi between heaven and earth is locked in an instant. Its pupil technique, in the endless black air, there is a sound of surprise from ghosts and ghosts. Bai Xiaola starts pupil technique, which limits his action. But with your pupil skill, you can't trap me. That ghost road living creature sneers. In the black air circulation, his figure reappears, his hands seal. The ghost's spirit breaks away from the lock. The ghost's spirit drinks coldly, and suddenly the pattern on the void breaks. Bai Xiaola's pupil skill is not good enough to trap him. Poof! But just as he broke away from the shackles, a sword qi shot directly into the void and accurately penetrated his head. The head of the ghost was broken, but there was no blood light. The head was full of black air. This blow could not hurt him. Mu Qingjian's face was full of horror. This sword was a blow from her heart and soul. With her purest will, she still could not shake this terrible creature. Jianxiu? Unfortunately, your realm is not enough to hurt my origin. If you grow up again, maybe you can, but I won't give you a chance. Go to hell. The ghost suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was in front of Mu Qingyun. The white bone dagger in his hand stabbed Mu Qingyun like the teeth of a poisonous snake. Just when Mu Qingyunming knew it was useless and wanted to fight back, a thunder sword roared down with the will to destroy all living beings. Boom! There was a big bang, and the ghost was shaken back by the sword of Longchen. It was Longchen who came. At this time, Longchen was full of killing intention and pushed back the ghost with a sword, and a thunderball in his left hand shot out. The thunderball flew out, and the ghost suddenly felt bad. The thunder restrained the ghost, and he wanted to escape. Unfortunately, Long Chen had already calculated the distance and detonated it directly. With a bang, thunder covered the sky, and the ghost could no longer turn into a black fog, so it was spread by the terrible explosion and flew out. Poof! His blood gushed, and the black air disappeared, revealing his face. When he saw his face, everyone was startled. It was not a human being at all, but a corpse. His face was rotten and white bones could be seen. It looked like a rotten corpse climbing out of a cemetery. His blood, black as ink, seemed to wriggle inside. It looked very frightening. It's not polite to come but not to go. You'll do the same. After Long Chen's short shock, the sword points to the sky and the thunder shines all over the world. The thunder between the heaven and the earth rolls and is absorbed by the sword. The fourth opening ceremony, boom. Dragon dust a sword to tear the world, with endless will to destroy the ghost road to cut down. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4182 Long Chen's sword startles the sky, the thunder flows, and the way of heaven trembles. Long Chen holds the thunder-crazy blade, which contains all the power of Lei Linger. Only Lei Linger's power of natural calamity can restrain the power of ghosts. No matter he is a corpse or illusory, he can't resolve the damage brought by the power of thunder. Before, he was almost killed by the ghost. Long Chen was so angry that he couldn't be merciful with his sword. When the ghost saw the strike of Long Chen, his eyes were full of horror. He continued to bear the attack of the people. Although it became illusory and could resolve most of the attacks, he still had to bear some of them. Among these attacks, Mu Qingjian's attack was the one that brought him the most damage. The blow hit the key point. Although he pretended to be indifferent, he had already been secretly injured and was still recovering. Now he is attacked continuously by Long Chen and even more hurt. Long Chen doesn't give him the chance to adjust at all, just like he didn't give Long Chen the chance at the beginning. The ghosts roared and tried their best. The white bone dagger in their hands stabbed at the front, and the black air rose behind, stretching out 8 huge tentacles. Bang! Long Chen cuts his sword on the white dagger, and the endless thunder is like the flood breaking the dike, attacking the ghosts. On the 8 dark tentacles behind the ghosts, the endless thunder flow leads the thunder power of Long Chen to the void behind. He knew that he couldn't bear the power of such a terrible thunder, he couldn't connect it hard, he could only try his best to remove the power of Long Chen. Boom boom. However, the thunder power of Long Chen was very strong. Although he used the supernatural power, he still couldn't completely remove it. One by one, his 8 tentacles burst into pieces. Bang, and he himself could not bear the attack, and burst into pieces, and the dark air flowed all over the sky and scattered between heaven and earth. Long Chen, you bully me more and less. Wait for me. I will not let you go. Wash your neck and wait for me. The endless dark air turns, and the roars of ghosts and creatures surge. As his voice surged, the dark air disappeared, and his own breath disappeared. How could that be? I can't trap it. Xia Chen's face looks frightened. When Long Chen moves, he immediately arranges a big formation to prevent the ghost from escaping. The ghost leaves without touching his big formation, and then disappears quietly. Not only Xia Chen's face changed, but everyone's face changed. They had never met such a terrible existence. Brother Long Chen, if you let me do it, he can't escape. Huolinger's voice rings out in Long Chen's mind. At this time, she is dissatisfied. Just now, Long Chen didn't let it go. There's no need to expose too much strength. The Holy King Assembly doesn't know how many monsters like him are hidden. Don't worry, you have a chance to show yourself. Long Chen comforts away. Seeing that Bai Shishir and others were still shocked, Long Chen knew that this guy, who called himself Jiuai Xian, had brought a big blow to the public. Don't lose heart. The reason why you can't hurt him is that ghosts are too special. But you don't have to care too much. Ghosts are too mysterious. We don't know about them, so we don't know their weaknesses. Once we know their weaknesses, it's easy to deal with them. Qing Yun, your sword is very beautiful. It directly hurt his origin. If it wasn't for your sword, I wouldn't defeat him so easily. Speaking of the end, Long Chen looks at Mu Qingyun and encourages him. Really? Mu Qingyun was overjoyed. Originally, Mu Qingyun was full of confidence when he came to the Xinguang meeting. He felt that he could shine brilliantly at the Xinguang meeting, challenge all kinds of experts and explore a higher level of kendo. Who knows, the first shot was hit, a full hit, straight in the key. Others have nothing. This for her, the blow is really too big. But when she heard the encouragement of Long Chen, Mu Qingyun was in full bloom. Long Chen's affirmation was a great encouragement to her. Of course it's true, but your sword is crooked. Long Chen rode. What's wrong? Mu Qingyun was stunned. Not only she was stunned, but everyone was stunned. Mu Qingyun's sword was extremely accurate and hit the point. It's wrong. Long Chen said with a smile. Jian Xiu has confidence not only in his own sword, but also in his moves and in people. In real sword cultivation, you don't need to attack the key points. Once you go out of your way to look for opportunities and attack the weakness of the opponent, your kendo will become weak. Because you're worried that you can't kill the other side, you have to attack the key. Your worry leads to the loss of will in kendo. Therefore, your shot can only hurt him but can't kill him. Mu Qingyun suddenly realized that when he looked at Long Chen, his face was full of admiration. Long Chen's eyes were as sharp as ever. Any word can make people suddenly open up. It's hard to make progress with him. Sister Qingyun is powerful. Bai Xiaola couldn't help praising that he always admired Mu Qingyun very much. Xiaola, why is your pupil's skill so weak? Long Chen looks at Bai Xiaola and frowns. Bai Xiaola's pupil technique has a wide range and a fast contraction speed. He has been hit with the reaction speed of ghosts. It shows that this technique is very strong. But Mingming has been trapped, but he easily broke away. Long Chen can't figure out where the problem is. Of course, he's weak. He's so stupid. How many months have he learned this skill? I haven't learned it yet, Long Chen. I'm ruined by you. At this time, a roar came, and then a fox with purple pupils appeared on Bai Xiaola's shoulder. The fox with purple pupil has 9 tails behind it. It is the fox with purple pupil and 9 tails who was summoned by Bai Xiaola to make a contract. At this time, it stares at Long Chen with an angry look, and the fire is almost burning on its forehead. I'm going to. How did you get so weak? Dragon Dust looked at the fox, almost can't believe his eyes. At first in the 3000 world, its breath is so terrible, but now, unexpectedly only Fairy Kingdom. Do you have the face to say? You didn't make it? After merging with this guy, my strength was absorbed by him. The most hateful thing is that this guy is too stupid to use pupil technique. He can't keep pace with me. I'm so angry. Purple pupil 9-tail fox roars. Bai Xiaola was scolded so much that he didn't say a word. Obviously, he was used to scolding. After all, Bai Xiaola took advantage of Tianda after signing a contract with him. However, Zitong 9-tailed fox suffered a huge loss. Therefore, even if Bai Xiaola was scolded, he was not qualified to reply. Wow, what a lovely little fox. They'll take this one. In the purple pupil 9-tail fox temper, a group of people came to the distance. All of a sudden will be surrounded by Long Chen and others. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4183. In the distance came a group of people, all of whom were very young and strong. They looked like 70 or 80 people, each of whom was well-dressed and dignified. What shocked Long Chen and others most is that all these people are the 3 extreme supremacy. Long Chen has been in Xinguang state for so long, but he has never seen a force with so many young 3 extreme supremacy. Long Chen When they saw this group of people, Luo Bing and Luo Ning's heart leaped wildly, and they voiced to Long Chen. Long Chen responded, "Don't talk first, just have a look." The reason why Luo Bing and Luo Ning's heart is beating wildly is that they feel the powerful blood call in these people. They are of the same race and blood. However, their blood is full of color, and they are noble and holy. The purity of their blood is many times higher than that of Luo Bing and Luoning. Luo Bing and Luo Ning met Purple Blood for the first time outside. They were excited and were thinking of meeting each other, but Long Chen stopped them. As soon as they appeared, Long Chen had a feeling. Although Long Chen's spirit blood had been poached, his mother came from purple blood, and purple blood had flowed in her body. But the appearance of this group of people, Long Chen felt a little strange, because Luo Zichuan never mentioned other purple blood things to him. The power of purple blood of these people is extremely pure, but the degree of purity is not as good as that of Luo Zichuan. Moreover, there seems to be some subtle differences between the two. As for the difference, Long Chen can't tell. As soon as this group of people appeared, they surrounded Long Chen and others. The leader was a man and a woman. The man was rich and handsome, and the woman was beautiful. Originally, they were a pair of beautiful girls. It was pleasing to the eye. However, the arrogance between their eyebrows and the rising corners of their mouth destroyed their quality and made people uncomfortable. The woman, as soon as she came up, was attracted by the purple pupil Ninefold on Bai Xiaole's shoulder. Her eyes were full of surprise. She was obviously fascinated by the shrinking purple pupil Ninefold. "Hey, do you sell this little fox? Or I can trade you with other archaic monsters." The woman looked at Bai Xiaole and asked. Zitong Nine-tailed Fox was already angry. At this time, someone even bought and sold it as a pet, and suddenly became angry. "If you have a brain disease, go to cure it. Don't mess with me here. I'm not happy. I have a good temper. Let me treat you." The woman was scolded, suddenly angry, suddenly in the hands of a purple gold bell, the bell out, purple divine light all over the sky. Immortal soldier. Long Chen and others were surprised that the purple bell was an immortal magic weapon. Moreover, there were blood patterns on the top of the purple bell. It was obvious that it was an immortal magic weapon that had been recognized by blood. When he saw the purple bell for a moment, Long Chen's face suddenly changed. He shot at it for the first time, holding a long gun and stabbing at the purple bell. "Go away." At the moment of Long Chen's hand, the man next to the woman seemed to have known Long Chen's hand for a long time. The long sword came out of the sheath and cut it on Long Chen's long gun. Boom! With a bang, the divine power surged, and everyone felt that the way of heaven seemed to explode. The violent force made them unable to breathe and could not help retreating. Long Chen and the man groaned at the same time. They swayed and stepped backward. Each step fell, and the void trembled, making a violent roar. The man's face changed, obviously didn't expect that Long Chen was so strong. Under the blow, they didn't take advantage of each other. Long Chen is also shocked. This man is full of blood. He blends with the power of heaven. It's all in his mind. He raises his hands and raises his feet. It's heaven's blessing. In addition to Luo Ziquan, Long Chen is the first time to meet someone who can reach this level by integrating the power of heaven. At this time, the purple nine-tailed fox screamed, and the purple rune appeared on its body. Like a cobweb, it entangled it and flew to the bell involuntarily. "Let it go." When the 9 foxes in Zitong are trapped, Bai Xiaole is surprised and angry. He prints with both hands, and the pattern of 3 flowers appears in his eyes. "Don't." Long Chen is shocked. At this time, the 9 foxes in Zitong are trapped by the purple golden bell. Bai Xiaole rashly pulls it, which is tantamount to shaking the purple golden bell with her own eyes. It's ridiculous to shake a big tree. See Bai Xiaole show pupil technique? That purple blood group of women's mouth appeared a smile of irony. Suddenly Zijin Bell trembled, followed by a scream from Bai Xiaole, and his eyes were bleeding. But to everyone's surprise, Bai Xiaole's eyes were injured, but he didn't give up. His eyes were bleeding, but he roared, "Tiantong cuts heaven and earth." Boom! With the twist of the 3 flowers, it was like 3 blades gathered together. With a loud noise, the woman of the purple blood group snorted and shook. The woman used the purple bell as if she had an invisible hand to trap the 9-tailed fox. Originally, this move was safe and easy for her. But Bai Xiaole's pupil skill abruptly cut off the invisible hand, which not only made her move invalid, but also made her soul hurt and her body shake. Looking at Bai Xiaole's eyes blood DC, Long Chen is surprised and angry. The murderous opportunity surges in his eyes, and Sinlung's murderous spirit spreads in an instant. Longchen don't. Seeing Longchen's eyes, Luo Bing and Luoning are scared out of their wits. With their understanding of Longchen, they are going to kill each other. Luo Bing and Luo Ning respectively hold Longchen's arms for fear that he will make a move. Once Longchen makes a move, I'm afraid there's no room for recovery. Asshole, are you dying? Purple Pupil Nine-Tail Fox out of the shackles, fly to Bai Xiaole's side, looking at Bai Xiaole's eyes full of cracks, almost burst, can't help roaring. If they want to rob you, I will fight with them. I know that I have no ability to let you be wronged, and I have nothing to repay you, but I can fight for you. Bai Xiaole bit his teeth. At this time, he has lost his vision. In front of a vast expanse of white, what cannot see clearly, eyes are more painful, but his mouth is wearing a smile. That smile is a bit silly, but it is so sincere. You. Purple Pupil Nine-Tail Fox immediately speechless. Purple Pupil, with a complex color, angry, seems to be moving. Longchen, don't worry. If you have something to say, just let it go. Luo Bing pulls Longchen, and her voice is almost begging. Bai Shishi's eyes are also full of murderous opportunities. Her jade hand has turned into gold, and the cold killing intention has locked the woman. Bai Xiaole is her brother. Although they don't talk much at ordinary times, Bai Xiaole's injury stimulates her anger. Shiner, what's the matter? Who dares to embarrass my purple blood Su family? Did they eat bear heart and leopard gall? When Longchen hesitated to kill the woman and avenge Bai Xiaole, a huge ship came across the sky. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4184, Dad, my daughter has a crush on a pet and wants to buy it in exchange with them, but they don't appreciate it and insult my daughter. The woman, who was called Shiner, heard the voice and immediately looked aggrieved, as if she had been bullied. Guoran, Xia Chen and others are furious when they see that the woman's villain complains first. This woman is so unreasonable. It is clear that she is so unreasonable that she grabs Zitong Nine-Tailed Fox directly. However, when they heard the word purple blood, they finally understood why Luo Bing and Luoning would pull Longchen. It turned out that these people, like Luo Bing and Luo Ning, all came from purple blood, but they were so outrageous. They all know that the relationship between dragon dust and purple blood is not common, but they don't know the true origin of dragon dust and purple blood. You're so bold. If you don't succeed in business, even if you don't dare to hurt others. Today, you don't want to leave. Boom. The huge warship, just like an empty fortress, stayed in front of the public, just like a side of the world came down. A majestic voice came from the warship. As the door of the warship opened, a middle-aged man in purple robe and purple gold crown came out. He was a natural and powerful man with purple chi all over his body. There were strange symbols in his eyes, just like the sun and the moon and the stars. When he scanned the crowd, everyone felt cold in their bones, as if he had seen through all the secrets at a glance. When the middle-aged man saw Longchen, his eyes were filled with surprise. When he saw Luo Bing and Luoning, his face suddenly became strange. Are you the blood of the purple Luo family? Luo Bing made a salute and said, Tell me, we are indeed the blood of the purple blood Luo family. In fact, there is another reason for this matter. I can't just listen to Lingness words. Since it's the same vein of purple blood, it's needless to say. Come here, noble vein of purple blood, how can you be with a group of no 3 no 4 people? The middle-aged man interrupted Luo Bing and frowned. Master. Luo Bing hears that middle-aged man's words, immediately the heart is cool half. Looking at the man's accomplishments and temperament, he is a man of high status. Originally, Luo Bing expected him to come forward to solve the problem and ask the woman to apologize to Xiao Lu and resolve the contradiction. However, the man didn't want to listen to her at all. He was more impatient and belittled Longchen and others. He let her down. Come back immediately. That's the order. The middle-aged man saw that Luo Bing was still hesitating and could not help cheering coldly. Luo Bing was shocked and angry, and his body trembled with anger. This middle-aged man was arrogant and unreasonable. Luo Bing and Luo Ning felt endless grievances and disappointment. Come on, bring both of them back. Don't make a fool of yourself here. The middle-aged man, seeing that Luo Bing and Luoning were not obedient, was impatient. With his command, suddenly there are two Tianzuan strong came, will take two people away. It seems that the appearance did not put Long Chen and others in the eye. Shame on you. If you two dare to do it, I promise you won't see the sun tomorrow. Long Chen's anger at this time has reached a limit, his voice cold and heartless. Long Chen never heard Luo Zichuan mention the purple blood Su family. It is reasonable that his grandfather would not hide anything from him. In order to save the people, my grandfather has been waiting for an opportunity, but he never worked with the Su family. There must be a reason. Luo Zichuan would rather take risks on his own than go out with the Su family. Long Chen had been thinking about it before. Now, seeing that the Su family is so unreasonable from top to bottom, Long Chen thought of a possibility. Now seeing that the Su family wants to come directly to arrest people, Long Chen blocks in front of him. At this time, his eyes are cold, and his big hand has been pressed on the handle of Ming Hong Dao. Ha ha, I can't imagine that there are people in the world who are so arrogant besides my purple blood Su family. Boy, I Su Jirelang can be arrogant, but you can't. If you are arrogant, you have to have the capital to be arrogant. Give me someone. Whoever dares to stop you will be killed. The middle-aged man sneered. The young disciples of the Su family, however, were even more sarcastic. They looked down at Long Chen and others as if they were looking at a group of prisoners. You two are not coming back yet? The two Su families Tianzuan gave a cold drink and then walked to Luo Bing and Luoning. Luo Bing and Luoning were surprised and angry. They looked at the huge ship, and there were countless strong men behind the middle-aged man, and there were only a few people here. Luo Bing gives Luo Ning a wink, and Luo Ning immediately understands that they walk out of a path. You don't have to do it, You can't go. No one can take you with me. Long Chen reaches out his hand to stop the two sisters. Luo Bing and Luo Ning don't want to implicate Long Chen and others. There is a big gap between their strengths. Although they don't like the Su family, they are all in the same blood and should not embarrass them. The mantis arm is the chariot. It's beyond our capacity. The two Su families' heavenly strongmen sneer and directly take out their hands, two big hands wrapped with purple shenhui, straight to Luo Bing and Luoning. At the same time, two invisible waves, straight to the impact of Long Chen. It was a soul shock. They not only wanted to catch the two sisters, but also taught Long Chen a lesson with the unique soul power of purple blood. It's not so much a lesson as a shameless sneak attack, because the impact of purple blood soul is extremely strong. If you are not prepared, or even the weak soul, you can smash each other's soul in an instant. These two men are both strong men in heaven. On the surface, they are catching Luo Bing and Luo Ning. On the surface, they are attacking a boy in the fairyland named Long Chen. This is not only shameless, but also insidious. Long Chen don't. At the moment when they use the soul shock to Long Chen, Lu Bing's face changes greatly, because she finds Long Chen's eyes suddenly cold to the extreme. Originally, Long Chen had been suppressing his anger. He didn't want to kill people until he knew the relationship between the Su family and the Luo family. However, their despicable attack made him completely angry and didn't care about anything. Choking in Luo Bing's scream, Ming Hong's sword came out of its sheath. The moment that Ming Hong's sword came out of its sheath was the time when the souls of the two strong Luo family came. When the long sword comes out of its sheath, it is like a dragon going out to sea. In the sound of the sky shaking sword, it is accompanied by the cold intention to kill and the violent will of the dragon dust. Long Chen's will burst, and the souls of the two old men were shocked, just like an egg on the wall. And at this time, the Ming Hong Dao of Long Chen cut those two Luo family old men hard. At that moment, the middle-aged man of the Luo family's face changed and his big hand opened. But at the moment when he was about to move, suddenly he looked into the void. Poof poof, just as he looked into the void, his two heads rose into the sky, and purple blood fell into the sky. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4185. A knife flashed by, and the corpses of the two heavenly strongmen were different. In front of the knife, they didn't even have a trace of resistance. These two old men, though not innate, are extremely powerful. Unfortunately, they should not attack Longchen secretly. The impact of their souls, broken by the will of Longchen moment, their souls were a huge shock. At that moment, their souls were confused, and the whole person was in a kind of blank state. At the moment when Longchen's long sword fell, they stood there like wood. From the moment when they took action against Longchen, the end was doomed. Two Luo Tianzuan were cut, purple blood scattered on the earth, Luo Bing Heart Wei, finished, now hate not big. However, Xiachen, Guoran and others were so elated that they almost clapped their hands. These guys are so hateful. After the shock, the Su family's faces were full of anger. The Su family's disciples drew out their weapons one after another, and their eyes were full of killing intention. But what surprised them was that their master didn't do anything. Someone looked at their master and found him staring at the void. Following their master's eyes, they noticed that there was a man like an iron tower standing in the void behind Long Chen and others. The man looked like he was in his 30s. His face was dark, his long hair was naturally scattered, and his breath did not leak out, which made people feel his cultivation. He stands on the void like a nail in the sky and the earth. He doesn't feel much before he is seen. When he is seen, it seems that all souls are caught by an invisible hand. It seems that he doesn't need to do it. He just needs an idea to destroy all living beings. At this time, he looks at the Su family's owner coldly without saying a word. That person is not others, is the War God Temple Lord. The critical moment he came, only he is not to come, but was summoned by the dragon dust. The Lord of the God of War Hall once asked by Zhantong to give Longchen a jade card for his soul. He told Longchen to start the jade card if he could not cope with the situation, and the Lord of the Hall would come in person. When Longchen is ready to kill, he starts the jade plate. That's why the master of the Su family will stop at the moment when he is about to do it, because he sees the master of the Temple of God of War. War. The Lord of the Temple of God of War stared at the master of the Su family and finally spit out a word. As soon as that word came out, the war broke out, heaven and earth trembled, the wind and cloud changed color, and the law of the whole world began to change because of this word. Only spit a word, but make the sky tremble, the earth shake, all people have to run the strength, resist the invisible pressure, Su family strong people, all looked at the Lord of War God Temple in horror. Xiachen, Guoran, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and others all look excited. They didn't expect that the Lord of the Temple of God of War was so terrible. He was just like a god. With the support of such a terrible strong man, how could he be afraid of a hair? Who are you? The master of the Su family looked at the master of the God of War Hall with a solemn face. God of War Temple Lord just looked at him coldly, did not answer him, the whole person quiet frightening. He is the Lord of the War God Hall of Lingshao Academy. As for his name, cough, you have no right to know. Guoran said, as for the name, the key is that he doesn't know. Not to mention that he did not know, neither did Longchen, Bai Shishir and others. The identity of the Lord of the Temple of God of War in Lingshao Academy is extremely mysterious. Lingshao Academy? The master of the Su family has a face. Guoran stood beside Longchen and said in a loud voice, yes, this is Longchen, the youngest dean of Lingshao Academy in history. You purple blood Su family is not arrogant? We the Lord of the Temple are here. Go on. The Lord of the Temple has already spoken. Do you want to fight or not? Guoran can see that the Lord of the Temple of the God of War is absolutely terrifying. Before, the purple blood Su family was too arrogant. He wanted the two sides to fight now and let the Lord of the Temple of the God of War clean up these people. My lord, let me. At this time, a man came out of the Luo family. He was covered with purple lines and looked like a tattoo. As soon as he came out, his blood rushed into the sky. What a powerful force of qi and blood. Guoran and others were shocked. Luo Bing and Luaning were even more startled. The man's purple blood coagulated to an extreme, like a volcano about to erupt. The moment he stood up, the whole world was like being in the water, becoming illusory. He was a terrible inborn god. Before, he had been behind the Su family, and no one noticed him. Now he appeared, and the whole world changed because of him. When he started to run purple blood, it was as if the whole heaven and earth had recognized him as the master, and the power of heaven and earth was under his control. His purple blood power is more pure than that of the patriarch. Luo Bing's face was shocked. Powerful is powerful but not pure. Long Chen looks at the man and shakes his head. Long Chen once fought with Luo Zichuan, and Luo Zichuan personally called him, so Long Chen knows more about Luo Zichuan's strength than they do. Although Luo Zichuan had only fairyland at that time, the purity of his purple blood was much higher than that of the heaven god in front of him. The reason why Luo Bing felt like this was that she could not distinguish the difference between quality and quantity. When that purple blood clan's congenital heaven strong person takes that step, the war god temple lord's eye suddenly bright. In the eye is flashing frightening divine light. Wait! The master of the Su family stopped him. He looked at the lord of the war god hall and said, "Forget it, a little thing is not enough to fight." Master! The Su family's inborn god was surprised. He didn't expect that the master of the family would retreat like this. He couldn't believe it. You know, Long Chen killed the Su family's 2 strong men. Not only was he stunned, but other Su Jiaqiang also looked stunned. Could this person make the Su family retreat? The woman named Sheener, looking at the purple pupil 9-tailed fox on Bai Shaole's shoulder, can't help but want to say something else. Obviously, she is not reconciled, because from small to large, she has never been unable to get what she wants. Let's go. This time, the owner of her family, who was very fond of her, did not comply with her, so he had to leave with them. Wait a minute. At this moment, Long Chen is cold. Boy, do you want to die? At this time, the young disciple of the Su family, the man who was the leader of the young disciple, suddenly showed his intention to kill him. Long Chen didn't look at him, but at Bai Shaola. Shaola, how do you say to solve this problem? My brother will not be bullied in vain. Do you want her eyes or her life? The boss is in charge of you. As soon as Long Chen said this, the faces of the Su family changed from top to bottom, and they all pressed down their weapons. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4186. The Su family woman named Sheener, who forcibly seizes Zitong 9-tailed fox, is so unreasonable that she directly uses immortal magic weapon, which almost blinds Bai Shaola. You know, Bai Shaola's practice is pupil skill. If he is blind, he will become a useless person. That's more painful than killing him. There is no reasonable person in the Su family. The little one grabs the purple pupil and the 9-tailed fox, and the old one grabs the Luo sisters. Long Chen has already been furious. Now he can't care so much. No matter what the relationship between the Su family and the Luo family is, he must seek justice for Bai Shaola. I think you are crazy. If you want to die, I will help you now. The woman named Sheener, when she heard that Long Chen wanted to kill her, or her eyes, was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. The purple bell appeared in her hand again, and her eyes were filled with blood. The other Su Jiaqiang's faces also changed. Long Chen uttered wild words and didn't pay attention to their Su family. At this time, the owner of the Su family was also angry. He had already stepped back, but he didn't expect that this guy would advance an inch. Bai Shaola didn't speak. The purple pupil and 9-tailed fox on his shoulder said, "No, we don't need other people's help. We will pay for it ourselves. Let them go. You wait for me, smelly girl of the Su family. Remember that. Next time I see you, it'll make you regret your stupid behavior." It's a pair of purple pupils staring at the woman coldly. It is arrogant purple pupil 9-tailed fox, unexpectedly was taken as a pet fight. This for it is a great shame. Little fox, dare to speak wild, next time I see you, I'll peel your skin to make a neck. Threatened by purple pupil 9-tailed fox, the woman named Sheener sneers. It's meaningless to say anything cruel now. If you have the strength, you'd better keep it for the king's assembly. The young Tianjiao of the Su family has a look of contempt on his face. He once exchanged a move with Longchen. He wanted to fight against Longchen several times. Unfortunately, the owner didn't allow him to do it. When the Su family entered the huge ship, it trembled and flew away slowly. When the huge ship flew away, Xia Qin, who had been staring at it, suddenly exclaimed, "This huge ship is an immortal magic weapon. They'll go. How can such a great immortal soldier be possible?" Guoran was shocked. Bai Shishir and others were also shocked. If this huge ship is an immortal weapon, wouldn't its power destroy heaven and earth? Thank you, Lord. Longchen gives a fist to the Lord of the Temple in the distance to express his gratitude. If he doesn't show up, they will be finished today. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit worse. Try harder next time. The Lord of the Hall looked at the warship in the distance. He sighed and finally disappeared. The Lord of the Temple's words were puzzling. I don't know what he meant. The movement here has long attracted the attention of countless people. However, they were scared by the name of the Su family and the authority of the Lord of the Temple. They only dared to hide in the distance to watch. In fact, when Long Chen and others fought against Jiuai Xian, some people saw it in the distance, but they didn't dare to get close. When a large number of strong people came near, the Su family members appeared, and then the Su family leader and the hall leader appeared one after another. The war was imminent. These people did not dare to move, for fear of being hurt by the fish in the pond. Long Chen, you dare to cheat me and hand over my treasure. I will spare you from death. At this time, there was a roar from the powerful demon clan. The old man was no one else. It was the old man who bought the bronze tripod of Longchen at the auction. Like the ghost, he was cheated by Longchen. At that time, the ghost was angry and killed the congenital god of Longting business. The scene was in chaos. At that time, Longchen had already escaped, and the ghost and the old man threw their anger on the strong man of Longting business. They think that this is a joint effort of Longchen and Longting Commercial Bank. The strong of Longting Commercial Bank are scared to flee. At this time, no matter how many explanations are given, it is meaningless. Such a big auction house was smashed into ruins. The powerful demon clan mobilized all the people to search for the trace of Longchen. The ghosts know that Longchen is not in this area, but stay outside, waiting for Longchen to come back. The war between him and Longchen also shocked others. The old man of the demon clan came to see the scene of the war between the Lord of the Temple and the master of the Su family. The Lord of the Temple supports Longchen. The smell of terror makes everyone feel cold. Even if the strong one of the demons is already a congenital god, he feels frightened. He is also a congenital god. He knows that he is far from the rival of the Lord of the Temple. When the Lord of the Hall left, he jumped out and roared at Longchen. Although his tone was tough, everyone could hear the taste of the fierce inner flight. Fair trade, willing to accept defeat. I never said that my bronze tripod is heaven and earth tripod. It's all said by the people of Longting business, and you are willing to gamble your luck. Who is to blame? There are so many people here, why don't others be fooled, but you too are fooled? It only means that you are destined to have this disaster. Longchen called Humwei. Do you want to go back when you get what he has? This guy doesn't know Longchen very well. You damn Terran, are you forcing me to die with you? The old devil roared. When things come to my hands, they won't go out anymore. It's no use playing tricks on me. If I want to go, I don't want to die. Longchen sneers, talks, and then swaggers, taking the crowd to the depths of the Terran region. You. The powerful demon is so angry that his forehead is blue. He's going to be mad, but he doesn't dare to fight against Longchen for fear of bad luck. During this period of time, when facing the practitioners who are lower than their own realm, they can only defend, not attack. Unless they are no longer alive, they can't help Longchen. Laozu, as long as you give us an order, we will slaughter them directly. A demon Tianjiao stood up and said, with a break, tens of thousands of demon disciples stood up. As long as you dare to move, I will let none of you demons leave this area alive today. Just then, a cold hum came. Then millions of strong men came out, and suddenly the disciples of Xinghe sect came. They heard that Long Chen was fighting here and immediately began to gather hands. Because many people are in a critical moment of enlightenment, they can't interrupt, and the rest of them are almost here. There are a large number of people in Xingyamai, and each of them has an amazing momentum. When they stand up, those powerful demons suddenly turn pale. The disciples of Xingyamai are enough to crush them. Once the battle starts, they may not want to leave alive. Then Long Chen and others left slowly in the sight of the demons, but the demons did not dare to move. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4187. There was no real confrontation between the Lord of the Temple and the Master of the Purple Blood Su family, but the Lord of the Temple said, "War." However, it makes countless congenital gods feel chilly. Originally, the demon strongman was going to force Long Chen to hand over the corpses and magic soldiers, but he was too scared to come because of the word of the Lord. The appearance of the Lord shocked countless people. They suddenly realized that no wonder Long Chen dares to pit Longting business. It turns out that there is such a terrible expert behind him. Watching Long Chen leave, the strong of the demon clan gnash their teeth, while the strong of Longting business firm, who are alive, have already been scattered, and those who are dead can only be unjustly killed ghosts. Although Longting Company has amazing strength, its sphere of influence is all in the Terran. Because it has been doing business all the time, the experts are distributed all over the world, so it is difficult to gather all the experts. In addition, with the strength of Longting business, they never dreamed that they would be used by Long Chen, and the two guys who were cheated were desperate to kill Longting business. Longting business has become a big joke. Because of this, Long Chen has been labeled as a super liar. Long Chen, a super liar, has made a lot of money at this time. In the eyes of countless people, he swaggered back to Lingshao Academy. When Long Chen returned to Lingshao Academy, the noisy Lingshao Academy became much calmer, and there were still many visitors, but now they all have a lot of rules. Don't say it's noisy. Even the noisy people are gone. They are all regular and honest. When they see Long Chen, their eyes are full of awe. It's just a group of goods that are not cleaned up. They don't have other skills. They just want to open a dyeing house by putting their nose on their face and giving them 3 points of color. In the face of this group of people, Luo Ning sneers at them. What he looks down on most is this kind of people. Before, they were dissatisfied with Lingshao Academy. They came to plagiarize in vain, and they were just like the old man. Now when Long Chen comes, they are all good children. "Brother Long, are you looking for me?" Long Chen just returned to Lingshao Academy and saw Su Changchuan coming with more than a dozen strong members of Wangyue clan. Among these strong men, 2 of them are very obscure and are real masters. It is obvious that Su Jinxiong is worried about Su Changchuan's danger and sends 2 masters to protect him. After all, Su Changchuan was once a disciple of Lingshao Academy. "I have one important thing for you, because I'm too busy to pass by now." Long Chen wrote. As more and more powerful people come, the major areas become more and more complex. If Long Chen goes to the monster area again, he is likely to encounter all kinds of fierce battles. Although Long Chen was not afraid, he didn't have much time to deal with it, so he had to send a signal to the Moon Watchers. When Long Chen handed over the World Stone to Su Changchuan, he saw the body of the rhinoceros in the World Stone. Su Changchuan could hardly believe his eyes. It shouldn't be too late. Let's hurry up and have a look at the Hui nationality area. The 2 old people behind Su Changchuan also saw the scene in the World Stone. He was more excited than Su Changchuan. This is the ancestor of the Moon Watchers, the immortal strong. The corpse is relatively well preserved. There are many magic runes that may be passed down. The corpse is priceless to them. This matter is too important for the Moon Watchers. Su Changchuan is not polite either. He greets Long Chen and leaves in a hurry. Such a big matter must be known by the people of the clan first, and then how to deal with the corpse needs to be discussed. Therefore, time cannot be delayed at all. After dealing with the affairs of the Moon Watchers, Long Chen and others returned to the inner courtyard. After carefully checking Bai Xiaole's eyes, Long Chen can't help but take a breath of cold air. At the same time, he feels afraid. You son of a bitch, you're so close, your eyes are useless. Why are you so impulsive? No one can bully you with the boss. Long Chen couldn't help scolding. The veins in Bai Xiaole's eyes are almost broken. Fortunately, these veins are not misplaced. If they are misplaced, no one can save him. I didn't think so much at that time. Whoever dares to rob my little Nine, I will fight with it. Bai Xiaole said with a silly smile. Little Nine. Everyone was stunned. I've told you many times, don't call me Xiao Jiao. I'm much older than your parents and your grandparents. At this time, the purple pupil nine-tailed fox appears again and yells. Long Chen and others almost didn't laugh. Zitong nine-tailed fox is a wild and strange beast. It has a great reputation in history. Its entity can block out the sky and the sun. The word little nine is really funny. Scolded by the purple pupil nine-tailed fox, Bai Xiaole doesn't say a word, just giggles, but his eyes are dim and almost blind, which makes people feel sad. Long Chen said, Little Nine, let me tell you. Don't call me Xiao Jiao. Do you have donkey hair in your ears? Purple pupil nine-tailed fox roars. That calls you little tail? Little purple? Little pupil? Little demon? Fox. Long Chen said several names in succession. Forget it, you better call me Xiao Jiao. Purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox. Seem to admit one's life, these several names count up, seem or small nine better. Long Chen said, I'm not a stupid brother. The main reason is that he has a stupid father who has been violent to him since he was a child, so he has some mental defects. The more you yell at him and attack him, the more blank his mind is. Like a fool, since you have signed a contract, you will become a community of destiny. You need to understand each other, help each other and support each other. Now you are both prosperous and disadvantaged. I know that when you make a contract with Xiaole, you are greatly wronged. You have a strong cultivation and are stifled like this. You must be uncomfortable. After hearing what Long Chen said, Zitong Jiwei Demon Fox calmed down a lot. Long Chen continued, but you can see that although he is stupid, his feelings for you are real. He is willing to work hard for you, even without his own eyes. His eyes are more important than his life, and you are more important than his eyes. What does he do to you? Long Chen asked. Purple pupil nine-tailed fox's pupil emerge a complex color. Bai Xiaole for it desperately, it is really very moved, this is it never thought of. After all, with Bai Xiaole, he gets angry and curses all day long, but he didn't expect Bai Xiaole to treat him like this. In fact, Xiaole is very smart and has very high talent. You have got the inheritance of Lu Dao Tiantong. You should study calmly. I believe you will get unexpected results. Long Chen said with a smile. Come on, it's annoying. You don't have to take care of our affairs. We can take care of ourselves. Let's go, Xiaole. Let's go to heal. Purple pupil nine-tailed fox not good gas tunnel, say words, grasped by Xiaole left. Looking at their back, Long Chen smiles. After this disaster, the relationship between Zitong Jiwei Fox and Bai Xiaole has finally become harmonious. If Zitong Jiwei Fox can really accept Bai Xiaole, their strength will become extremely amazing after their soul fusion. Boom! Suddenly, the whole Lingxiao Academy shakes, and Bai Shishi's face looks surprised. Lingxiao Palace appears, go and have a look. www. Novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4188. There is a place in the inner core area of Lingxiao Academy that even the disciples of the academy can't get close to. There is Lingxiao Palace, which is the last palace in the academy. Disciples are not allowed to get close to it because not everyone can enter it. If the temperament is not strong enough, people will die directly. Lingxiao Palace contains the most advanced ancient books of Lingxiao Academy. If the temperament is not strong enough, people can't get close to it. For fear that some disciples would lose their lives because they were not convinced, no one was allowed to get close to Lingxiao Palace before it completely appeared. Now Lingxiao Palace appears, and all the disciples of Lingxiao Academy rush to it. When Long Chen and others arrive, there are hundreds of thousands of disciples of Lingxiao Palace. When do we have so many strong people in Lingxiao Academy? Long Chen was surprised. There have always been many talented students in our college, but they are all hidden in the snow. At this time, the fragrance came and a woman appeared. Mother! Bai Shishir exclaimed pleasantly, it's no one else. It's Bai Shishi's mother. At this time, she walked with a smile and saw Bai Shishir, with a kind smile on her face. Now you are a little girl, no longer so cold, very good. Nyang, Bai Shishir has a pretty red face. She can hear the meaning of her mother's words, which shows that she has changed, and this change is because of Long Chen. Yes, aunt. In the face of the future mother-in-law, Long Chen salutes quickly. Bai Shishi's mother said with a smile, if you are all from your own family, you don't need to be polite. Bai Shishi's face became more red. His mother's words were too explicit. Bai Shishir quickly opened the topic and said, Mother, why don't you say hello to your daughter when you're here? By the way, where's your Nyang? Their Nyang in her words refers to Bai Shaole's mother. Before Bai Shishir, she was very indifferent to her mother and Bai Shaole's mother, including her father. At that time, she couldn't accept the two girls to serve her husband, and she never took the initiative to call heir Nyang. But since she met Long Chen, she realized that some things, no matter how strong you are useless after all. She can only accept her fate. When she bowed to love, she finally understood her mother. At this time, it was as if her childhood affection had come back again. Your two Nyangs went to see Xiaola. Xiaola was hurt, which made her feel bad. But the Lord of the Temple now allowed her to visit Xiaola. Well, let's not talk about that. Your father and the Lord of the Temple have entered the Lingxiao Palace. Let's go in. With these words, Bai Shishi's mother, holding her daughter's hand, went straight to Lingxiao Palace with them. Enter the gate. A towering palace appeared in front of the public, but the strange thing is that this palace is invisible outside. At the moment of entering the gate, the magnificent and simple atmosphere came to our face. The palace was resplendent and bright. It was like a dragon swimming around the palace. The sacred and solemn atmosphere is awe-inspiring. In front of this palace, Long Chen feels extremely small. Standing here and looking at the palace, Long Chen seems to be standing in the long river of history, watching time flow and time shuttle, but this palace seems to be forever. It is like a spectator who has gone through many vicissitudes, witnessing the ups and downs of 9 days and 10 places. Unfortunately, it sees everything but it can't express it, or it may not want to express it. On the plaque of the main hall, there are 3 big characters in gold and lacquer. Long Chen doesn't know these 3 characters. These 3 characters are not like words at all, but more like runes. The strokes are cumbersome and like a ray. They outline a kind of will that stands on the top of 10,000 ways and surpasses all living beings. It gives people a feeling of being proud of the world and arrogant. But this feeling is not domineering. It makes people willingly crawl at its feet, worship it and revere it from the heart. Although I don't know these 3 words, I can guess them with my heel. They are Lingxiao Palace. These 3 words should be the Zhili Xianwen of the early dynasty. Long Chen knew the Zhili Xianwen of the 3rd generation and the Zhili Xianwen of the 2nd generation, but he didn't know any of them. Today, outside Lingxiao Palace, there are countless disciples wearing Lingxiao Academy costumes. In addition to these disciples, Long Chen also sees many people who are similar to Lingxiao Academy in clothes, but with a big word, Zhan, embroidered on their chest. Seeing Long Chen looking at the disciples, Bai Shishi's mother said, these are all disciples of the Temple of War God. They are 2 different systems from the academy. Long Chen nodded. Lingxiao Academy also has its own layout. The Holy King Conference opened before the snow-hiding experts have come out. However, these disciples can only linger outside Lingxiao Palace, because Lingxiao Palace has a strong pressure. They need to gradually adapt to the pressure here before they can enter. While Long Chen and others drove straight in and went straight to the gate of the palace. There was a light curtain in front of the gate. When Long Chen passed through the light curtain, he suddenly felt a mysterious wave sweeping over him. The fluctuation is very strange. It seems to point to the original heart, as if to put forward a question to the original heart of Longchen, and how the original heart answers, Longchen himself does not know. Longchen looks at Bai Shishir and others, but finds that they don't have any feelings at all. Longchen can't help but wonder, is this mysterious fluctuation only aimed at him? Through the gate, there are countless figures in front, the divine light road in front, full of illusions, just like a door blocking in front. This is the gate of destiny. There are 3 gates, 3 for each. You can enter the palace through the 9 gates. Because in the palace, there is a record of the secret way. People with a weak life can't afford it. If they look at it by force, they will cut down Shouyuan, or even die on the spot. Therefore, whether you can get in here depends on whether your life is hard enough. If you feel the sting of your soul, you have to stop. Although Lingshao Palace can't change its fate against heaven, as the sacred place of Lingshao Academy, it can help you change your destiny. But everyone's chi luck has an upper limit. If you reach the upper limit, you can't enter the 9 passes. You can only say that you have no chance with Lingshao Palace. The Mother's Way of Bai Shi. As they spoke, they had already passed through 7 light curtains in succession. When they passed the 8th light curtain, the 2 sisters, Zhong Ling and Zhong Xiu, obviously felt a little tired. Bai Shishi's mother asked them not to be forced to come here. Basically, they could all get in, but it took a little time to adapt. The 2 sisters are very obedient. When they feel a little uncomfortable, they stop, while Longchen and others move on. Through the 9th light curtain is the gate of Lingshao Palace. When Longchen steps into the gate, the vast pressure comes. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4189. There are hundreds of white steels in the hall. The steels are like jade, and the vast prestige comes from them. When he saw those stone tablets, Longchen's heart leaped wildly. It was not a stone tablet at all, but the bones of immortal creatures. They were bone tablets. On those bone tablets, there are lots of runes, which are holy, solemn, and awe-inspiring. This is Kendo inscription? When Mu Qingyun saw a tablet, he immediately exclaimed and ran over. He looked at the tablet as if he was possessed. He stood still as if his soul had come out of his body. After Longchen came in, he found that hundreds of disciples were in a daze in front of these bone steels. It should be that his mind sank into the bone steels and was comprehending the things on the bone steels. These are all the secrets recorded in the early Jiuli Immortal script. They are all inclusive. The early Jiuli Immortal script is the most primitive script. In fact, all the runes in our mouth are evolved from the early Jiuli Immortal script. Rune is a compound word. Rune is Fuzhuan, and one is character. They both inherit part of the Jiuli Immortal script, but when they are added together, they are not the Jiuli Immortal script of the early dynasty. The Mother's Way of Bai Shi. I'm confused. If one part is divided into 2 and 2 parts are combined into 1, then it's not the original one? Please help me out. Xiachen can't help asking. Bai Shishi's mother said with a smile, 1 is divided into 2, it also depends on how much is divided. Do you know that if the divided 2 is 2/10, 2%, or 2/1000? The summer morning suddenly stops talking. It said that the most important secret of Jiutian and Shidi is hidden in the Jiuli Immortal script of the early dynasty, and no one can really crack it. Jiuli Xianwen is like a giant ruler, which can measure the boundaries of 9 heaven and 10 earth, as well as the Wanfa and Wandao in the universe. It is said that in the age of chaos, the human race is at the bottom of the food chain and has been enslaved and even reduced to blood food. It was the appearance of Jiuli Xianwen that changed the fate of the human race, so that the human race rose from adversity and finally stood at the peak of the 10,000 race. However, the good time is not long. The glory of the Terran does not last forever. The Chaos War makes the Terran from glory to decline. And that war broke the inheritance of Jiuli Immortal script. At present, we can only decipher the 3rd generation of Jiuli Immortal script, while the 2nd generation, even the 4 schools of Taigu, can only recognize 67 out of 10. In the 1st generation of Jiuli Immortal script, only 12 out of 10 can be recognized by the calligraphy clan. As for the early generation of Jioli immortal script, no one can recognize it now. Later, Bai Shishi's mother could not help sighing, with endless regret and helplessness in her voice. Wait a minute, master. Isn't the first generation of Jiuli Xianwen the same as the first generation of Jiuli Xianwen? Xiachen couldn't help saying. It's not true. The first generation of Jiuli Xianwen was deciphered by the Jiuli people. When they deciphered the Jiuli Xianwen, they also deciphered the Fu and Zhuan characters. Fu Zhuan is different from Xianwen. Fu Zhuan is used to release, while Xianwen is used to inherit. The inheritance needs to be understood and known by later generations. However, the first generation of Jiuli Xianwen decoded by the Jiuli people is too extensive and inaccurate. Therefore, based on the first generation of Jiuli Xianwen, the second generation of Jiuli Xianwen was created, followed by the third generation and the fourth generation. The characters we use now are basically decomposed from the fourth generation of Jiuli immortal characters. After practice and deliberation, the decomposed characters gradually come to us now, and the words can be used accurately. There are some things that can be handed down by words without personal education. It seems to be a good thing, but in fact, it is a bad thing. Bai Shishi's mother shook her head and continued, "We had a huge ruler, but we thought it was too troublesome to use it, so we split it up and refined it bit by bit. It's like a 10,000-mile giant ruler. We split it into 1 millimeter small ruler, which is really convenient for us to use. However, we can no longer use it to measure a wider space, so we become a frog in the bottom of the well." Master, no, we just need to know that it's not difficult to calculate the farther distance by millimeter conversion? Gua Ran interrupted. Bai Shishi's mother said with a bitter smile, "How can things be so simple? If you put hundreds of millions of millifeet together, you may get a giant ruler, but are you sure your giant ruler is really accurate? It should be no problem." Gua Ran scratched his head. "Can you guarantee that there won't be any mistakes in the process of stitching? You know, the slightest mistake is 1,000 miles away." The mother's way of Bai Shi. Gua Ran was speechless. He seemed to understand what she meant. Her so-called ruler was just a metaphor. What the early Jiuli Xianwen could measure was not only the distance, but also the tangible and intangible things. The first generation of Jiuli immortal script decoded by Jiuli people? Why do they want to decipher their fairy writings? Are you? Long Chun frowned. Suddenly his heart jumped, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Is Jiuli immortal text just like De Fantion? De Fantion scripture was not created by De Fantion. There was De Fantion scripture first, then De Fantion scripture. If we say that Jiuli Xianwen came first and then Jiuli people came, that's right. Jiuli people themselves can't understand it. If they want to inherit it, they need to decipher it. If you can't understand it, how can you decipher it? Long Chen was confused. And, I want to know, who is the first person to get the Jiuli immortal script? Long Chen looks at Bai Shishi's mother. Bai Shishi's mother shook her head and said with a bitter smile, "I don't know. When I was young, I asked Master Jinyuan. Master Jinyuan told me not to ask anyone again." Master Jinyuan? Long Chen's heart leaped. The old man sweeping the floor of the academy is so mysterious. What's the origin? Well, that's all I have to say about Jiuli Xianwen. In fact, I only know so much. Now you see, Jiuli Xianwen is the early Jiuli Xianwen, is also the most primitive Xianwen. You don't want to understand it. On the one hand, precious time will be wasted. The challenge arena of the King's Assembly has not been opened yet. Once the challenge arena is opened, these bone steels will disappear. You should seize the time to understand. On the other hand, if you force enlightenment, you will have a mental breakdown, and your spirit will get hurt and become possessed. Don't force anything. I'll teach you a simple method. On these bone tablets, there are different things recorded. If you feel with your heart, you will feel the call of an immortal or a stroke. Here, if you can understand the artistic conception of a stroke, it will be enough for you to use all your life. Don't be greedy. In the end, it's nothing. If you look at Qingyun, she stares at one of the sword-shaped strokes. She has entered a settled state. Once she realizes it successfully, her future is limitless. The mother's way of Bai Shi. When she finished speaking, the people did not dare to neglect her. They closed their eyes one after another and kept calm. Sure enough, they all felt the call and went to the bone steel. "Boss, I've been summoned too much. Is it because I'm so excellent?" Guaran exclaimed in surprise. He sensed that all the bone tablets were calling him. "Excellent fart, is your mind too much? Don't be too greedy, calm down. Long Chen doesn't have a good air tunnel. This guy is impetuous, and even his qi and blood fluctuates so violently. Obviously, he is still in an excited state. How can he feel the real call?" Oh, being cold watered down by Longchen, Guaran became a lot more honest and felt at ease. "Longchen, my call is on it. How about you?" Bai Shi opened his eyes. "Mine is on it too." Longchen smiles. He feels it from the moment he enters the door. Bai Shi's mother smiles. "Let's go up then." With these words, Bai Shi's mother took Longchen and Bai Shi to the top of the palace. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4190. There is a staircase in the main hall. When Long Chen steps on the first step, the surrounding scenery changes instantly. The scenery in the main hall disappears. Long Chen is in a desolate battlefield. The steps are still there, but Bai Shi and her mother on the steps are gone. "Kill!" A roar came from Long Chen's ear, and he saw a strong Terran man in armor galloping forward. Poof! A demon strongman was cut into 2 pieces by that man, but just after he killed the demon strongman, he gave a shrill scream. He was bitten by a fist-sized spider. The spider was colorful and sucked a few mouthfuls. The man turned into a mummy in an instant. Gigi. Spiders eat the Terran strong, the body tremble, straight to the distant battlefield. Along the direction of its departure, Long Chen saw countless creatures, is crazy fierce battle. The demons, the blood clan, the demons, the orcs, the giants and so on, as well as many other races that Long Chen has never seen before, are fighting madly. The targets they are attacking are all Terrans. Long Chen knew that what he saw was an illusion, but the staircase was too low. Long Chen couldn't see the panorama of the battlefield clearly, so he had to walk up the stairs. As he kept going up, his perspective was constantly moving up, and he could see the far battlefield. He found that the Terrans were fighting against all creatures. No one helps the Terran. The Terran has been fighting alone, in the face of endless enemies. The Terran panic, despair, they roar, cry, but there is no meaning. On the battlefield, there is no pity, no sympathy, no reason to speak of, and no system to speak of. There is only the most primitive, bloody, cruel, tyrannical, ferocious face. The desire in the heart has been extremely released. They enjoy to show the ugliest side. The sky is no longer blue, the sun and moon are covered. I don't know if they don't want to see this ugly side, and close their eyes. The Terrans are struggling to support. Although they are crying and insisting in the face of the massacre of thousands of people, they can't hold on many times, but they survive again and again. The resilience of the Terran is amazing. They are desperate, but they never give up. They persist until they die. After they die, some people pick up their weapons and continue to fight. Then they die again, and later generations continue to pick up their weapons and continue to fight. The battlefield is still the same, but the Terrans are constantly changing. What they have picked up is not only the weapons of their predecessors, but also their will and responsibility. At the moment when they took up arms, they also understood why the predecessors, knowing that there was no hope, insisted on fighting until they died. Because they have no way out. Behind them are their relatives. If they don't insist, their parents, wives and children will die miserably in the hands of the enemy. They know that there is no hope, but they are trying their best to stick to it. They are fighting for the time for the later people to grow up. Sometimes, sticking to it is the only way when there is no way. As Long Chen goes higher and higher, he can overlook the whole battlefield. He wanted to rush into the battlefield to help the Terrans, but he knew that it was just a picture. Maybe it was real, but it didn't have to be seen. It happened in the present, maybe in the past, maybe in the future. Long Chen didn't know why he saw such a picture. It made him very sad, but he couldn't help it. He didn't like this feeling. In order to get rid of this illusion quickly, Long Chen accelerates his pace. After Long Chen accelerates his pace, he finds that the whole battlefield also speeds up its progress. The Terrans became weaker and weaker. At this time, the Terrans suddenly split into countless forces and were annihilated one by one. Long Chen was surprised and angry because he saw that some Terrans betrayed their own race and joined the enemy camp. In this way, countless Terrans were killed. Damn it, Long Chen was very angry. He saw the traitor, but now he was too far away to see who they were. In his anger, Long Chen wants to go down the ladder, but he finds that the ladder can only go up, not down. Furious, he jumped directly from the stairs, but just as he was about to land, the space twisted, and he returned to his original position. Who the hell are they? Who betrayed the Terrans? Dragon Dust roars. He knew that it was an illusion, but it must be a projection. He may have happened or will happen soon. Long Chen wanted to see it clearly, but the law here did not allow him to see it. Traitor, Long Chen grits his teeth. What he hates most is betrayal. Since he can't see it, Long Chen can only keep on gritting his teeth. As Long Chen continued to climb, the battlefield below suddenly disappeared and became a lake. The lake was as smooth as a mirror, reflecting a huge figure. Long Chen stops and looks at the huge figure. It's still a figure from the back. Although it's closely a figure from the back, it makes Long Chen's scalp numb. He has an endless smell of destruction, which makes people feel scared from the depths of his soul. Long Chen looked at the shadow, his eyes tingled, his soul vibrated, and his heart was full of uneasiness. Who is this man? How can you be here? Long Chen looks at the huge figure with a shocked face, and his heart is full of uneasiness. The huge figure disappears suddenly, and the lake disappears with it. The picture in front of Long Chen changes, and the figure of Bai Shishir and her mother appears again. At this time, Long Chen is already in a hall. Bai Shishir's face was full of excitement. Long Chen, what did you see? I saw. Shut up! Bai Shishir's mother suddenly changed her face and cried out. Mother! Bai Shishir was surprised. She had the impression that her mother had never spoken to her so seriously. Anything you see can only be known by yourself. You can't say it to anyone. Otherwise, it will bring terrible cause and effect to you and others. The mother's way of Bai Shishir. I see, mother. Bai Shishir was in a hurry. Seeing Bai Shishir admit her mistake, Bai Shishir's mother seems to feel a little too harsh, and her tone softens a little. Shishir, it's my mother who is not good. I didn't expect you to see a vision on this ladder, so I didn't say hello to you in advance. Mother, don't you see? Asked Bai Shishir. Bai Shishir's mother shook her head and said, It's said that only those who can change their destiny in the future can see the vision. My mother doesn't see anything. Well, that's it. No matter what you see, don't say it. Remember. Bai Shishir and Long Chen both nodded. They continued to walk forward with Bai Shishir's mother. After passing a door, there was another hall. In the main hall, there are also bone steels, but there are only 9 bone steels here, which are not close to the bone steels. The strong call has made Long Chen and Bai Shishir jump wildly. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4191. When Long Chen and Bai Shishir came to the second floor hall, there were more than a dozen people here, but all of them were the strong men of the older generation, including Bai Zhantong and another deputy hall leader. However, when Long Chen and others came up, they didn't even look at them. At this time, they were in a settled state, and they were completely immersed in the immortal writings on the bone tablet. At this time, Long Chen was shocked to find that Bai Zhantong had already been a natural god. When he entered into the 2 forgetting things, his breath could not be hidden anymore, and his powerful power was diffused, which was obviously several times stronger than the ordinary congenital heaven. How is that possible? Long Chen's heart leaps wildly. You know, when he was in Lingshao Academy, Long Chen's feeling was absolutely right. He seemed to be a fairyland. Even if he suppressed his strength, at most, he was just a realm. How long has it been? How did you become a god? What's more, it's congenital. Is he like grandfather? Have you sealed the innate power? For Long Chen's shock, Bai Shishi's mother laughs but doesn't speak and doesn't explain, and Bai Shishir has gone to one of the bone tablets. On the bone tablet, there are golden immortal inscriptions. Even if Long Chen is not a gold practitioner, he can feel the terrible fluctuation of the power of gold. Bai Shishir is attracted by the bone steel in an instant. Before Long Chen speaks, Huolinger and Lei Linger have turned into girls and run out. They are excited. Just about to shout, they are quickly covered by Long Chen. Long Chen pointed to other people who entered the settled state and made a no-sound gesture to them. It's not good to make a big noise here. Huolinger and Lei Linger immediately nodded. Long Chen released them. The two little girls ran to a bone tablet and began to learn from others. These two of you are amazing. Bai Shishi's mother looks at Lei Linger and Huolinger with a look of shock in her eyes. She could see that these two little creatures were the spirit of fire and the spirit of thunder. She was also a well-informed person. She was more powerful than them. She had seen many of them. But she had never seen such a high level of wisdom. The wisdom of the two people was close to the human race, which was almost impossible. If she had not seen it with her own eyes, she would never believe it. They're not my creatures. They're my sisters. Long Chen smiles and corrects. Lei Linger and Huolinger were raised by him. Long Chen never regarded them as pets, but as his relatives. Bai Shishi's mother didn't like it either, so she said, "Start to understand. Time is precious. This is the biggest chance to improve before the Holy King's meeting. Master, please be busy first. I feel a stronger call." "It's not on this level," Long Chen said with a smile. Bai Shishi's mother was surprised. "Are you going to the third level?" Long Chen nodded and said, "Yes, that's the more powerful call. On the third floor, you'll be busy first and the boy will go first." Long Chen greets Bai Shishi's mother and walks to the entrance of the stairs alone. Soon Long Chen disappears on the stairs. Looking at Long Chen's back, Bai Shishi's mother's eyes are full of shock. Can the fairyland touch the higher secrets of heaven? Is he the man of destiny, the one who will change the future outcome? Long Chen didn't know what Bai Shishi's mother was thinking. He only felt the strong call. When Long Chen stepped on the steps, this time, there was no vision. Everything was so calm. After 99 steps, Long Chen came to the third floor, which is the last floor of Lingxiao Palace. Boom! When stepping into the third layer, the terrible pressure came, and the violent force almost shook the dragon dust away. Kaka kaka. Long Chen seems to be pressed on by a world, but his body is rattling. Long Chen is shocked and takes a breath. Boom! Long Chen's body is covered with golden scales, and he summoned the Dragon King's body. When the Dragon King's body appeared, the terrible pressure was immediately offset. Under the terrible pressure, Long Chen walked step by step to the main hall and entered the hall door. Long Chen immediately saw the tall figure of the Lord of the Hall. In the main hall, there are only 3 bone steels and a figure sitting on the ground. The Lord of the Hall is facing a bone steel. The man has settled down, just like a statue. The Lord of the Temple is so terrible. It's just that the most common breath is put out. It's so terrible. Long Chen can't help but feel shocked. Although he knows that the Lord of the Temple is extremely terrible, he still underestimates him. When a person is in a settled state, his breath will be in the most stable state. When many strong people fight, they will raise their breath to the strongest level to cope with high-intensity battles. And usually will hide, lest the breath will make people around uncomfortable, and after settled, the breath will be in a state of natural balance. The state of nature is so terrible. If the Lord of the Temple is in a fighting state, Long Chen can't imagine how strong he is. Is the Lord of the Temple immortal? Long Chen guessed in his heart, otherwise how could there be such a terrible pressure? I don't know how many times stronger than those natural ones. The authority of the White Exhibition Hall is strong enough, but in front of the Lord of the Temple, it's just a small witch. Long Chen didn't dare to disturb the Lord, but walked to 3 bone tablets. Longchen sensed that two of them had a huge call for him. One of them was the one the Lord was facing. Dragon steel? When he got close to the bone steel, Longchen felt awe-inspiring. The bone steel was carved with a keel. Although the power of the keel had been locked by Xianwen, it was immediately sensed by Longchen after he got close. No wonder there's a sense. Looking at the dragon steel, Longchen can't help feeling it. He has dragon blood flowing in his body. What he practices is Dragon God's body refining skill. He controls the dragon's magic power. It's strange that he can't feel the call. Maybe it depicts something related to the dragon clan, but its summoning power is not the strongest. Longchen turned to look at another stone tablet, 3 stone tablets, respectively, in the 3 directions of the main hall. On the stone tablet that Longchen looked at, there were very few immortal inscriptions. There are thousands of immortal inscriptions on other bone steels, but there are only dozens of immortal inscriptions on this stone steel. However, each immortal text is extremely complex, just like a totem. When Longchen looks at the stone tablet, his whole body is shocked, and his brain suddenly becomes blank. He even recognizes the 4 words in the totem, De Fan Tian Jing. Longchen didn't know much about the 2nd generation of Xianwen, and none of the 1st generation of Jili Xianwen, let alone the 1st generation of Xianwen. But I don't know why, but I know these 4 words. They seem to have been portrayed in his soul. When Longchen approached the stone tablet, the 4 words seemed to come to life. Longchen's eyes flashed and he was in a world of fire. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4192 In the Flame World, endless flames are burning. When dragon dust is in the flame begins to move closer to dragon dust. At this time, Longchen heard the sound of flame burning. Hundreds of millions of flames were burning, forming a strange sound. The sound seems to be the transmission of emotion, also seems to be the spiritual sustenance. All the flames are so close to the dragon dust, even dependent. Flame burning, whispering sounds sounded. They seem to pour out something, but Longchen can't understand. Because these sounds are so noisy that Longchen can't understand them. There are all kinds of flames here, including celestial fire, earthly fire, animal fire, wild fire, and smoke cooking fire. It's too much, too miscellaneous, too messy. They seem to be communicating with Longchen, but Longchen can't understand their voice. There is a barrier between them that can't be broken. Longchen looks at the endless sea of fire. Suddenly, Longchen sees that there are 10 thrones in the endless sea of fire. Of the 10 thrones, 7 are in the front, 3 are in the back, and the 3 thrones behind are high and empty. When Longchen saw the 4 thrones, he couldn't help jumping wildly, because in this throne, Longchen saw the rainbow color flame, ice spirit flame, the golden sun fire, the dark Taiyin fire, and the phoenix fire in the shape of phoenix. And look at the order of arrangement. These are clearly the top 10 heavenly fires on the list of heavenly fires. Longchen's heart jumps wildly in an instant. Tianhong ranked 9th, Bingpa ranked 8th, Fire of Taiyin ranked 7th, Fire of the Sun ranked 6th, Fire of Phoenix ranked 5th, and the 4th was the Black Flame. Yenza's flame? How is that possible? Isn't the flame of flaming emptiness the strongest in 9 days and 10 places? When seeing the 4th ranked flame, Longchen can't believe his eyes. It's clearly the flame of Yansu. However, at this time, the flame of Yansu doesn't mean evil, but the fluctuation, Longchen won't admit it. It's the flame of Yansu. So called the strongest flame in 9 days and 10 places, it only ranks 4th? Is there a mistake? Dragon dust fell into a dull moment. The 3 empty positions, according to this arrangement, should be the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd Tianhua, but they did not appear. What's the matter? This permutation and combination suddenly broke the cognition of Longchen. Is the celestial fire ranking of fairyland wrong? The flaming flame here is different from the flaming flame outside. Who is true and who is false? If Yenza's flame can only rank 4th, then what is the top 3 Tianhua? Longchen looked at the empty 3 thrones in a daze. The world of fire shocked him so much that he couldn't accept it for a while. Buzz. The endless flames between heaven and earth are burning, and their power seems to be endless. They are releasing their power to their heart's content. Listen to the sound of fire burning. Dragon Dust's mind a blank. At that moment, as if time stopped, Dragon Dust's heart also gradually calmed down. He just listened to the sound of the fire quietly and didn't think about anything. I don't know how long it took, but Long Chun suddenly realized. With the sound of Dragon Dust's chanting, the endless flames become active in a moment. They are like soldiers waiting for orders, and the sound of Dragon Dust's chanting is the clarion call of war. Boom! With the sound of chanting, endless flames rose, as if they were poured with oil, and they burned wildly. Hundreds of millions of flames rise and interweave around Longchen, forming strange symbols. So it is. The most primitive sutra is composed of endless symbols. Symbols are dead, but the meaning of sutra is alive. If you want to express one thing, you need another thing to contrast. If there is yin, there is yang. If there is right, there is wrong. If there is good, there is evil. There must be one thing to distinguish between yin and yang, right and wrong, good and evil. This is one of the explanations of the so-called Tao generates 1, 2, 2 generates 3, 3 generates all things. Looking at the symbols, Long Chen was overjoyed. Because the symbols evolved from these flames are just one of the strokes in the 4 early Jiuli immortal texts of De Fan Tianjing. Boom! As Long Chen recites the 2nd volume of De Fan Tianjing, these flames boil again, and another symbol appears in the endless flame. Following the 3rd volume, the 4th volume and the 5th volume of scriptures, as Long Chen continued to recite the Great Brahman Sutra, endless flame blending formed one symbol after another. Through the operation of these symbols, Long Chen finally got a glimpse of the way. He not only knew what these symbols represented, but also knew the pronunciation of these symbols. Jiuli Xianwen, a symbol of the early dynasty, can be divided into many meanings according to the change of shape, length and angle. Moreover, every symbol has many kinds of pronunciation, and the combination of each symbol and another symbol has different pronunciation. Long Chen's De Fan Tianjing was taught by mysterious women. In the past, Long Chen only knew how to recite, but he didn't know how to identify it. Now through these symbols, Long Chen gradually controlled the way. Long Chen only learned the 5th volume of the Great Brahma Sutra, but now he has the key to open the Great Brahma Sutra. Even if no one taught him the 4 words of the Great Brahma Sutra, he can calculate the complete Great Brahma Sutra. Boom boom. When Long Chen began to recite the 6th volume of De Fan Tianjing, the world of fire began to expand rapidly, and the whole world seemed to explode. At the same time, Long Chen's soul power is rapidly consumed. Long Chen is startled and stops reciting the Great Sutra. At that moment, Long Chen is shocked to find that his soul power is less than 10%. If the dragon dust just takes a step late, the soul power will be consumed, and the whole person will fall into a coma. What's going on? Now I can't control the 6th volume of De Fan Tianjing? Why not? Long Chen felt the loss of the power of the soul, and he was startled. How powerful is his soul? Up to now, in the same stage, he has never met a person with stronger soul power. Even if he was born in heaven, he may not have such powerful soul power as Long Chen. It can be said that Long Chen's soul power is far ahead of his current strength, but even such a powerful soul power was almost drained in an instant. After Long Chen stopped chanting, the expanding world began to shrink slowly, and finally returned to its original shape. Long Chen fell into meditation. He studied the sutra again. Suddenly, Long Chen looked up to the sky and laughed. I see. www. Ninefold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4193, Time and Space. It turns out that space is wrong. This is the Xianwen world, not the real world. If you want to use the supernatural powers in Volume 6 of the Great Sutra here, you need to expand the immortal world. With my ability, I really have some delusions to expand the immortal world. Long Chen, with a smile and an idea, figured out the key. The endless flame rose again, but this time, Long Chen did not dare to recite the scriptures. Instead, he sealed his hands and recited the scriptures in his heart. In this way, Long Chen is deducing scriptures, not exerting supernatural powers. In this way, without changing space, Long Chen will not lose much soul power. With the passage of time, Long Chen continued to deduce. When the 6th volume of scripture was finished, he began to deduce the 7th volume of scripture. But when deducing the 7th volume of scripture, Long Chen encountered a problem. That is, there are some pronunciation in the 7th volume of scripture, which must be read out with his mouth. No, I can only deduce here, and the rest can only be deduced outside. Fortunately, I have fully remembered the great Brahma Sutra. Even without the cooperation of the flames here, I am confident to deduce it to volume 9. Long Chen took a deep breath, some reluctantly looking at the endless flames here. Without their help, Long Chen could not understand the meaning of De Fan Tian Jing. Each volume of De Fan Tian scripture in Lingshao Academy has tens of thousands of words, but the artistic conception it can express is not as accurate as that of Xianwen in the early dynasty. It's just that you can understand Zhili Xianwen in the early dynasty. If you can't understand it, it's no different from reading Tianshu. The most important thing is that Long Chen can't explain it to others. Now the text is simplified into complex, in order to accurately express the meaning, but becomes specious, has lost the original meaning. Here, there are only 4 words in De Fan Tian Jing, but it represents the highest mental method of Huodao classics. With 4 words, one can inherit a supreme divine power, which I am afraid can only be achieved in the early Zhili immortal script. I can't imagine the things contained in the early Zhili immortal script. The reason why De Fan Tian is called De Fan Tian must be because of De Fan Tian scripture. He changed his name to De Fan Tian after learning the De Fan Tian Sutra. Does it mean that if he is named after De Fan Tian, he will get the blessing of Qi luck? Long Chen doesn't understand. Finally, looking at the 3 empty god seats, Long Chen retreats from the flame space, and Long Chen's soul returns to the Numenon. Suddenly, he feels weak and then screams. Boom, as expected, before we had time to defend, we were shocked out by the force of terror and rolled down the stairs to the 2nd floor. It turned out that when he entered the final stage, he was protected by the law of Zhili Xianwen, and the Lord's authority did not affect him. But when his spirit returned, the protection of Zhili Xianwen disappeared. At that time, Long Chen's soul power was weak, and he could not immediately summon the Dragon King to fight. Then he was shocked by the Lord's authority. When Long Chen rolled to the 2nd floor, he found that there were 2 more young disciples. The clothes came from the temple of God of War. But fortunately, they are in a settled state and did not see the appearance of dragon dust. At this time, Bai Shirshir was covered with golden radiance, just like a gold goddess sitting there, holy and noble. Looking at her beautiful face, a smile of self-mockery appeared on Long Chen's face. How could she make such fairies like her? Long Chen often thinks that there are many beauties around him, and each of them has deep feelings for her. This kindness is hard to repay, and he often feels guilty. When he first entered the practice world, Long Chen was young and frivolous, and wanted to have wives and concubines in groups. But now, Long Chen knows that men's shoulders are limited. When he was young, his father gave him a wooden sword. The moment he held it, he felt that he was invincible. But now, he has amazing strength, but more and more panic, more and more anxiety, for fear that one day he cannot protect his beloved. Dragon Dust suddenly surprised, because he found Fire Spirit's son and Thunder Spirit's son disappeared. Dragon Dust was scared. However, Long Chen can feel their breath. Soon, Long Chen can't help but laugh. It turns out that the 2 girls are the size of earthworms, and they are pasted in the runes on the bone tablet. No wonder no one can be seen. It is estimated that the 2 of them have found a way to fit themselves. It may be easier to understand them by sticking runes on their bodies. After all, they are both spiritual bodies and can't understand them in the way of human race. Long Chen took a rest for a while and took a pill to recover his soul. Instead of going to the 3rd floor, he went down to the 1st floor. On the first floor, there are more people here, and on the steps down, Long Chen sees several people who are struggling to stick to it. Long Chen sees Zhong Ling and Zhong Xiu in the crowd. They even come in and realize in front of a bone tablet. Long Chen glances at Luo Bing, Luo Ning, Mu Qingyun, Xia Chen, Qin Feng, Qi Yu and so on. What's rare is that Guoran is also meditating in front of a bone tablet. It seems that he is not pretending, he should be seriously meditating. When Long Chen came down, many of his disciples saluted him and showed great respect for him. In Lingshao Academy, even the Tianjiao who were hiding in the snow were in awe of him. Long Chen also said hello to them, then turned around and walked to the second floor, but this time to Long Chen's disappointment, this time he didn't see any vision. Originally, Long Chen wanted to experience the previous vision again to see who betrayed the Terran and stabbed him in the back. Only this time, there was no movement, nothing to see. Long Chen can only go back to the second floor, after adjustment, straight to the third floor. At the third floor, the Lord's terror came again. This time, Long Chen got ready, opened the Dragon King's fight ahead of time, and walked into the third floor easily. When Long Chen sits again in front of the bone tablet engraved with the 4 words, De Fan Tianjing, Long Chen wants to see if there is any harvest in other Jiuli immortal texts. It's a sword. When Long Chen saw one of the words, he immediately felt his back was cold, his soul was stinging, and his sharp sword seemed to have cut his soul. Long Chen just glanced at it roughly and was almost hurt by the sword qi. This word is too overbearing and contains countless things. I'm really overbearing. I don't even give you the chance to comprehend. It should be that its level is too high. It needs to be close step by step and can't be crossed directly. Long Chen looks at that word, can't help but feel shocked. Mu Qingjian's Kendo foundation is solid enough, and he only stays at the first level. However, this word stays at the third level. It is estimated that only after he understands the first 2 levels of Kendo can he be qualified to understand it. Long Chen is not Jianxiu, so he immediately chooses to give up. Just when Long Chen is about to try other immortal writings, suddenly the voice of the Lord of the Temple comes, "Do me a favor. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel." Chapter 4194, Lord, you call me? Long Chen is surprised. The Lord of the Temple is still in a settled state. He can talk to him. Give me a drop of dragon blood. The Lord of the Temple is humane. Oh, good. Long Chen's fingers popped out a drop of golden blood and flew to the Lord of the Temple, but that drop of blood essence turned a corner and flew to a symbol on the bone tablet opposite him. When the blood essence fell on the symbol lit up slightly, and then the Lord's breath changed and his fighting spirit soared to the sky. Poof! All of a sudden, the Lord of the Temple burst out with blood, and Long Chen was startled. Are you okay, Lord of the Temple? Ha ha ha! But the Lord of the Temple laughed, and the fighting spirit in his eyes was burning like a flame. He didn't answer Long Chen's words and continued to close his eyes. After a while, he was a mouthful of blood, but after his blood, it was absorbed by him. Every time after vomiting blood, the Lord's face was full of joy, and he seemed to enjoy this feeling very much. What's the situation? Long Chen can't understand. What is the Lord doing? However, the Lord of the Temple did not speak, and it was not convenient for him to ask. Long Chen wanted to continue to understand other immortal writings. Suddenly, his heart moved. He looked at the runes on the bone tablet in front of the Lord of the Temple, and there were not many. The strokes were crooked, just like a strange dragon. Dragon claws? When Long Chen saw one of the words, he could not help blurting out the 2 words. When he saw the immortal text, he felt it and naturally read its name. At the moment of reading its name, Long Chen naturally has 10 fingers like a hook, showing the shape of a dragon's claw. Is it true that all the records on this bone tablet carved by the keel are unique knowledge of the dragon people? Long Chen is ecstatic. He gives up other immortal writings and begins to study this immortal essay. When Long Chen was immersed in one of the strokes, suddenly the fierce wind and the feeling of extreme danger rose at the same time. Poof! The dragon's armor on Long Chen's chest broke, blood splashed, and the man flew out and hit the wall, which made Long Chen's eyes full of stars. Long Chen looks startled. He looks down at his chest and finds that his chest is torn by his claws. If it's not for the dragon armor, he might have been torn by the terrible blow. What's the situation? Long Chen was so confused that he didn't see anything. As soon as he entered the world, he felt his eyes were dazzled. The strong danger made him instinctively withdraw from the space. You know, at this time, under the guidance of the strong dragon people, the dragon dust practiced the dragon god's body refining technique. His physical body was extremely strong, and under the blessing of the Dragon King's battle body, even if it was a boundary artifact, it could not hurt him. But his terrible defense, in the face of that attack, was like paper paste, so vulnerable. This is too striking. Fortunately, in the chaotic space of Longchen, both Taiyin wood and Fusang ancient wood are growing crazily. The power of life is as vast as the sea, and Longchen's wounds are instantly restored. The scattered blood essence was also recovered by Longchen. In this way, although he was injured, it had no effect on him. Longchen was inspired by the Lord of the Temple. He saw that the Lord of the Temple was full of spirit and created a space similar to the boundary of blood. In this way, the blood flew out and could be recovered automatically without any impact. Buzz, once again, Longchen understands Xianwen, and people enter the strange space again. This time, Longchen is ready, and at the moment of entering the space, he summons Kunping wings for the first time. Poof! As a result, Longchen flew out again, and his chest was scratched again. This time, Longchen almost vomited blood. In that space, Longchen wants to open the wings of Kunpeng. He suddenly finds that he has lost that ability. At this moment, a sharp claw appears out of thin air. He wants to block, but the speed is slow and he is scratched again. The dragon claw space of emotion can't display other magical powers. This is the conclusion drawn by Long Chen after one injury. Come again. As soon as Long Chen gritted his teeth, he entered the space again. This time, Long Chen was calm and concentrated. After entering the space, he roared and clawed out. Boom! There was a loud bang and a painful hum from Long Chen. His dragon claw was scratched so bloody that his whole palm was almost broken. Longchen was surprised and angry. This time, you can see clearly that it was a golden dragon's claw. Like him, it was also a fairyland. That is to say, it was a dragon king's claw. But the same realm, the same dragon claws, dragon dust dragon claws like chicken claws, simply vulnerable. And at this moment, the empty side of Long Chen's body vibrates, and Long Chen roars. He doesn't even want to think about it, and kicks directly. Dragon wags its tail, boom, there is no deviation in Long Chen's judgment, and this kick kicks the dragon's claw. As a result, the sole of Long Chen's foot is painful and bloody, and he is almost caught. Buzz, at this time, the space of dragon dust is different, and the terrible threat of death is shrouded in the heart of dragon dust for a moment. Long Chen left Xianwen space for the first time. At that moment, Long Chen felt his forehead was hot, and there was blood flowing down. Dragon dust suddenly scared out of a cold sweat, his scalp was scratched. If you slow down so little, the head may be scratched. How could that be? No matter how strong the real dragon is, it's just the realm of the Dragon King. The realm is the same as mine. Why is it so bad? Long Chen looked at the bloody palms and feet, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Since taking control of the dragon god's body refining technique, the power of Long Chen's physical body can be said to be arrogant and arrogant. Even those monsters who are famous for their physical body power are not ignored by Long Chen. But today, Long Chen was severely hit. In front of the real dragon, he was so vulnerable. It's a real dragon in the age of chaos. It has a perfect physical body, which is not comparable to the real dragon now. At this time, the dragon's strong way. After all, the times are different and the rules are different. It's not that Long Chen is not good enough, but that he was born in the wrong era. However, even if it's a real dragon in the chaos era, and you have my original dragon refining skill, your strength will never be worse than it. You failed because you were stupid and careless. I used to think you were very smart, but now I find that's all the strong of the dragon race have no good manners. Why? How stupid and careless is Long Chen? However, the dragon strong man didn't respond to him. He seemed very disappointed and angry. He wanted to go and didn't want to die. Long Chen doesn't understand, but he knows that the dragon strong man seems to be really angry. Finally, he just takes a deep breath and rushes into the immortal space again. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.